Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Collider Live. It's Thursday, August 1st. Welcome to August, everybody, as we approach the end of the summer as far as movie season goes. And joining us, as always, the producer of producers, the produciest, Mark Riley is here.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Josh McCouga.
What up?
And Princess of Death, the queen of, I don't want to say misery, because she's not miserable, but she scares everybody every time she walks in a room. Dorina is here.
Why do you think that? Why am I so scary?
It's just it's a
I
moniker.
think I'm nice.
Well, that's the problem. Evil people don't think they're evil.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right?
I'm not evil. People just say I'm evil because I'm honest.
Well,
That's
you're like
what it
Littlefinger, so we don't know.
Yeah.
is. That's true.
Yeah.
Very Littlefinger.
It's not his birthday anymore, but he's still always our birthday boy. Cody Hall is
Feliz
here.
cumpleaños.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this is the best and the most happy I've ever been to see Alex. Alex, how you doing? My point exactly. Not here today.
Wow.
Not here today. But Hey Alex is doing his
Geops.
Hey of Alex is somewhere else. Packed show today. We're excited at 11:30. Brand new movie coming out August 2nd, and it is Luce, and the director is Julius Onah. Myself and Jeff Sneider had a chance to sit down and talk with Julius. Really cool dude, man. It was a nice... It just interview to talk about how it kind of came to be, how passionate he was about this play. That then, I don't want to ruin it for people because it's going to air it at 11:30. But
The movie looks good.
so
I saw
great
the
reviews.
trailer and
and we're excited for that interview. Make sure that you see it at 11:30 when we air it. However, I did watch the Peanut Butter Falcon last night.
Yeah, I saw your reaction.
It's fantastic.
you loved
Isn't
it.
it great?
I don't stay up past 10:45 now. I go to sleep. I started watching this movie at 10:30. I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I'll finish it like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is out of control in this
He
movie.
is so good.
He's so good.
How
in this
can we
movie.
watch it?
So right now, that movie actually comes out August 2nd also.
No, August 9th.
August 9th, excuse me.
August
August 9th it comes out, and it'll be. You should see it in theaters. You should.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to support stuff like that for sure.
You will love this
Oh, my
movie.
God.
Okay.
You
I
will
can't wait.
love this movie.
Sweet.
It's my favorite movie I've seen this year.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
It's up
Yeah,
there for me,
it's up
man.
there for me.
The relationships are because you know why now that after hearing these guys and the story that they were telling that they got the producers of Mud.
Yeah.
Right.
Mudbound.
Oh, Mudbound.
Mudbound.
Okay, I was gonna
Mudbound.
say the movie feels like mud.
Yeah, it does feel muddy.
It feels like
Yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
It feels like
It's
mud.
muddy.
Like
They did-
No, the McConaughey. Yeah, and
But when does it come out in theaters, or is it also going to be on demand? And
it's coming out in theaters first.
Because I like going to see those movies in theaters because I want to support
and they
that
want
stuff.
you to.
Yeah.
L.A., New York, I think Chicago. It's coming out. But when the movie, if it's in your city, go and see it because it really is just like it's a feel good story. It's a good relationship story. I loved Dakota Johnson beforehand. I love her even more now. But the kid Zach is really
So
especially after
good.
hearing that story from those directors yesterday. That was a hidden gem that Roxy found. It really was because that dude. By the way, both the directors were really cool.
Really good guy.
But Tyler,
Yeah. The dude did most of the talking.
what a personality
Yeah.
on that guy.
Yeah.
Like he looks like young Gary Oldman. I'm telling you right now when I'm talking to him. But he's a good dude. I was going back and forth with both those guys. Gonna get them back on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't know who Ben Begley is, but he is Ben Begley.
know,
In
it's funny.
cadence and everything.
My favorite part of the interview, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm like you're like a cross between like Gary Oldman and Sam Rockwell, and McCouga looks at me and goes, and Ben Begley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and to Mike, I'm like, yeah, but they don't know. Who
I mean,
Ben
they have
Begley
the
is.
same. They don't know who he is, but he's got like the same cadence.
Yeah.
Like if Ben Begley, for those that don't know who Ben Begley is, Ben Begley and I used to host a podcast called Guilty Movie Pleasures.
He still does.
and he still does it. Yeah, but before like stand-up gigs, he doesn't do stand-up anymore. But he was the most neurotic stand-up I've ever been around. He'd be like, "Yo, should I try this bit or this bit?" I was like,
I could
"There's
see
8
that.
people out there.
I can see that.
Do whatever the f you
He's
want."
like that at Comic-Con parties.
Yes,
He's like, should I take the shrimp or should I take the potatoes?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah.
What are other movies in that vein that aren't as popular that people should that you love this year? Because
This year?
I really am looking forward to that. I also Blinded by the Light, the Bruce Springsteen movie, was cool.
Yeah, my dad saw it the other day. I gotta
and
see what he
then The
thought.
Farewell was great.
Yeah,
so there's
I
a
gotta
bunch
see
of
Farewell.
So there's
Yeah.
a bunch of movies out there that are not superhero movies that you guys should watch.
What
I
I'm
would say.
going to do is I'm going to go through like the list. I'll go through your list, Sneider and Perry, because those are the 3 people that Sneider and Perry really see everything, right? and I want to see the movies because I used to when Mark and I were doing reviews like all the time. We saw everything. I mean, this is way before I had to do all the shit that I was doing over here. But I want to see more of this stuff.
Right.
Are you just because you guys get sent more to the big blockbuster movies
we get invites to everything.
Okay.
I get invites to everything. I just can't go to everything.
Right.
And so it's the ones like when I.
What do you have to do? You're just a dad.
Yeah, right, and everything else over here.
Yeah.
I knew of the Peanut Butter Falcon because my buddy was one of the producers on it, so I'd seen it, and I was like, I mean, when he first started, obviously, getting his foot in the industry, he did some weird, crazy things. But then he did Mudbound. He got this amazing relationship with Netflix, and they produced a lot of really good stuff. Yeah. They did that movie Arctic, which on Netflix with Mads Mikkelsen.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Sarah loved that movie.
Yeah,
Sarah kept talking about it.
It's
like
fantastic.
him a lot.
Yeah, Mads was great in that movie, and then. He was posting all kinds of stuff from Peanut Butter Falcon from South by Southwest, and then it won the jury prize, and I was like, okay, like this is something. So I knew about it, and then when Roxy said she loved it, I was like, I didn't know when it was coming out, and then I actually gave him a call yesterday because I was like, dude, I've seen all your movies and I've liked all of them, but this one is like something special.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was looking at some of their Instagram posts yesterday, and they posted a lot of stuff from the movie itself, and then they had Mick Foley an interview with him. He was talking about one of the
Where was Mick Foley in it?
He was the ref.
He was the ref.
Yeah, he's the ref.
Is his teeth really like that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He's been, dude. He was the one that got thrown off that cage back in '98.
Holy shit, that was Mick Foley.
So anyway, Mick Foley was talking about how Tyler was this kind of unorthodox. They're both directors, but Tyler would direct with his shoes off, and he did never wear shoes. He wasn't wearing shoes here yesterday.
That's when I brought him in. He went great, and he took his shoes off and walked in. I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah.
You're like, welcome.
Come on in.
Very free spirit, and I saw a lot of even from interviewing that guy yesterday for like half an hour. I saw a lot of him in that Shia LaBeouf character.
I mean, 100%, you're correct. 2, when he was like, I was like a Venice guy. I was like, well, he embodies Venice. Like, he embodies old school Venice. There was that Will Arnett show on Netflix that I watched every episode, and I forget what it's called, but it takes place in Venice. It's all about like being local in Venice, and everybody in Venice. If you live here in California, Venice is like people are so protective of the localness of Venice.
100%.
But because of the gentrification, how expensive property is, people have started like moving into Venice, and they hate that because they can't afford to live there anymore.
Well, and it's now Silicon Beach too, where all the tech companies have moved there, and so that's
a lot of my close friends have moved to Venice, and it's like, and it's oh my god, they treated it like it's a mecca.
Oh my god,
it's great
Whitney
though.
and Adam.
I mean, I hang out there at the beach. It's great because it's not like if you go to Malibu or Manhattan Beach where like it's all rich people. It's just like it's like just a pack of everybody from hippies to everyone's there.
Good
That's
restaurants.
What I love
Great restaurants.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Venice too is there's this classic place that's been there forever. It's called Hanano Burger. You've had Hanano Burger.
So.
It's right on Washington at the beach, basically. And it's cash only. The burgers are fantastic. It's beer and wine, and they have a jukebox in there, and it is local. I mean, you can't play pool there unless you're local and people know you and that kind of stuff. So when I went in there pretty drunk, had a burger, and then to be an asshole, I went on the jukebox and played Paula Abdul Rush 7 times and left.
Did you
Josh
stay?
isn't allowed back
Did
now.
you stay while it was playing, or you literally left and didn't even hear
I stayed for the first time, and people started getting real upset. My buddy's like, "We should go." I was like, "Yep."
That's
Let's
good.
go.
That's pretty funny though. That's a good trolling.
It's a great trolling. I remember there was this character that we used to do in high school, and it was. I'll just say that I won't say the real guy's name, but we just said Charles, right?
Yeah.
And we just go, and my buddy, who I've talked about on this show, Barnaby, the one who broke into the machines.
Yeah.
He would say, "Hi, my name is Charles. Now you know." and he's like, "Sitting on the bus. Now you know. Now you know. I'm talking to my friends. Now you know. Now you know." And he would do this whole thing. It would be like, "Now you know" was the character.
Yeah, that's the catchphrase.
But that transferred over a lot, and I used to bring it into like improv things. And I go, "How you doing? Now you know." And I did it with this comedian, this guy, Dane Cloner was his name, and he was hysterical, and I don't remember what we were in this like mall thing, in the scene, and he's tied up, and I walk in. I've done the character so many times, but they're like, "All right, so you don't know what characters come in?" And I go, "How you doing? How you know?" And he goes, "Oh fuck, kid." He's like, and this whole thing, but I met my buddy. Augustine, who was working, I was working at this place, Luna Park, not the one on La Brea, the one that was like the nightclub. I told you about this one,
Yeah.
and I was when I was working the rooms, and for some reason at 21 years old, I had control after being there. The turnaround, I was in control of all the rooms and big clubs. But this is where I started. I met Brett doing stand up.
Okay.
So the main room, like Alice in Chains came in. Like it was like people that were coming in. It was big stuff.
Damn.
They had these rooms. They had this big room, and I forget why. There was like you had to like move people out. So they were like it would be like a dance party, and then a big band would come in. So there was this dance party that was happening, and we're like, we can't get these people out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Augustine and I think it was Mike Murphy. No, it was my buddy Jay Burke, and we had recorded in this guy's actual studio a Charles song. And it was the sitting on the bus. I was like, now you know, and I kept playing it. And now you know, and it was like we put like a dance beat to it. So
Did
we're
people
trying
stay
to,
or leave?
But wait. So these people and the dance people were like, we can't get these people out of here. We go, we got to play the Charles song. So we go. And they start going like this, and we are crying, laughing.
It backfired.
It didn't. We go play it again. So we started playing it. Boom, 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 and we keep playing the Eons. Finally, this guy runs up to the booth. He goes, "What the fuck is this? You want people to leave?" And all three of us go, "Yes!" It was the best. It was
What song would get you guys to leave a place? Like, other than that.
I don't know.
I was just.
What? You mean the cat song? There it is.
I was a few steps ahead of Cody, I feel, on that one.
Dude, I got a good effing story for you.
What'd you do?
Okay, so
Thanks, Cody.
Cody.
Have the shits.
I'm on Sunset and La Brea. You just mentioned La Brea this morning, right? And one thing that people do not do in this city is they don't use turn signals. Like no one uses turn signals.
Never.
I told you, what you do is
Ever.
you roll up to the person, you say your turn signal's broke.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I see this Ferrari in front of me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and
Well, especially those cars,
And
right?
I was going, and I'm not going to hit a Ferrari with
Yeah.
my friggin' Honda. So I'm going into the turning lane at Sunset and La Brea, and this Ferrari looks like it's going to turn because it's really close to the lane. I was like, he's not going to use a turn signal. He's in a Ferrari. He's in his own little world. But he kept going straight. And so I pull up real slow next to him, and I was like, I'm not going to hit him. I turn out. It's fucking Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, shit.
morning?
This morning in the thing. So
you
I'm
didn't
like,
break
I was just
his
like,
Ferrari?
I was like, I'm going to stop. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pull up just a little bit. And I'm like, I keep going like, I'm going to see him. Like, he's going to catch my eye. He's going to catch my eye.
something.
So he catches my eye. I was like, what's up? And he gave me the head nod. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I wasn't going to like roll down the window and be like, hearts on fire.
Well, no, because that's not his song. That's his opponent's song.
Did you
exactly.
just follow him playing that song on the radio? That's a good sighting.
It's a good one. It reminds me of the one that Venice was where I was going actually.
Yeah.
When my two favorite sightings I've ever seen. The first was, and this is probably around the same time of the Inan Unin song, that time period.
Inan Unin?
Yeah, but I was driving and I kind of stopped at a light, and this car comes by, convertible, cigar in the mouth, sunglasses, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And it was straight up Jack Slater.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I was just
Do you
like,
think they gave him the car from Last Action Hero?
he probably just took it. I'm taking of the lot. Why? It's mine. And, what are you going to say about it?
Arnold, no, it's fine.
Shut up. I'm driving. You don't do any more impressions of me as the Hulk. and he would drive by. But there was.
I wish you could interview him and both of you talk like that.
Yeah. Well, people do that impression to him because it's the hackiest impression of all
Yeah,
time.
no.
But everybody does. Everybody does it to him. It's just fun to do.
Yeah.
Everybody does it to him, and he'll rank you.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that's always been I only interviewed him once. I just didn't have a chance to do it.
Right.
But are you kidding me? I'd love to. Joe Manganiello does a badass one too.
He does.
I think we did when I interviewed him. We did dueling ones.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But I told everybody my favorite celebrity sighting ever. It's a good one. But no. Again, stopped at the light. This car is zipping through. Horns are honking. Clearly goes through the red light.
Yeah.
Almost hits two other cars. Comes spinning by, and it's Gary Busey. and I scream out, I go, "You're the fucking best!" And he goes. Just keeps driving. He had like a towel on his head or whatever. It was amazing.
You're like, am I on drugs?
That's
amazing.
It was
I think
amazing.
I told you my Schwarzenegger at Floyd's barbershop.
You did. It was,
Yeah.
but tell them.
So
you saw Arnold at a Floyd's?
So I'm walking by Floyd's barbershop on Melrose, the one on Melrose, right? And my buddy was getting his haircut there, and I like see him, so I went in to like say what's up to him as he was getting his haircut, and that huge Humvee rolls up, parks like in the fire zone. It's Schwarzenegger. Right. He comes out with a cigar that is like this fucking big, like it is so big. It's fully
with
lit.
the Brad Fidel score playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. He just walks in, and there's a private like barbershop up on second floor of Floyd's. He walks in, he's like, "Come on," and he walked up the stairs and got his hair cut and left.
Ever.
Like that was the best.
And you're like, "Oh shit!"
Favorite Schwarzenegger line from a movie?
Ooh, I mean, as a Mexican, I have to say "Hasta la vista."
That's fair. Yeah. Mine's going to be different from everyone else's.
Okay.
Oh man, there's a lot.
I think you're gonna know mine.
What do you got?
Hey Sully, remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
Good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I quote all the time. It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah.
Mine.
I was thinking about that as a close second.
Mine is from even though the movie itself has grown on me and I didn't love it initially. Last Action Hero, when he's got Louis the Fart or whatever he's got on his back, and he goes, "Look, an elephant!" and he runs away. It got me every single time. I remember laughing so hard during that particular movie. Very funny. Speaking of which, I like to give this guy shout outs because he puts so much effort into these videos, and since you've been making me do these retro voiceovers as Arnold as different characters, the guy that did the Lion King one did one for the Hulk, and it's almost better than the Lion King one. Can we bring it up, Cody?
Who's doing that?
Bring in, I think it's the same guy.
Toasty Biscuit or something?
I forget. Just bring up a roast con pollo, or just bring up Arnold Lion King. It'll probably pop up.
Café con leche.
And because let's see, there it is. So that. But watch the.
That's the Kindergarten Cop thumbnail. That's funny.
Watch the Hulk. Yeah, it's the first one down there. Okay, so this is the same guy again. Video Conjure Club.
Oh yeah, Video Conjure Club.
So can we make it? Yeah, thank you so much.
What do I call him?
Nice.
Toasty Biscuit.
This is good.
What
Same
is that?
tonight. I was way off.
Thor. This is from Ragnarok.
Are we gonna get flagged?
Yeah. No. It's his video.
Oh, look at me, I'm on another planet with Thor. Hey, Thor. We're the gladiators.
Pissed off. Oh. Angry. I lost my father. I lost my hammer.
Here I am. I had to
You're not
smash
even
something.
listening.
Why? Because I'm angry. Pick that up, throw that to you.
Really bad friend.
Look at me, I'm angry again.
You want me to call
Say
you?
something to me to get me
Call
back.
you the stupid Avenger.
But I'm gonna stay as the Hulk now. I'm the champion.
Are you crazy?
Get over here.
You know what? Earth does hate you.
You guys are the best.
That's really good.
Go and subscribe
Great
to that
comedy
guy.
timing.
Yeah, it's really good, man.
Video
It's just-
Conjure Club,
Yeah.
not Toasty Biscuits.
Not Toasty Biscuits. And
But that's what I'm naming
where do
my
we stand-
dog.
Yeah, where do we stand on Fart Potato? How many subscribers?
Oh yeah,
is Fart
we
Potato?
checked in yesterday.
We checked in on Wednesday.
Even
A
I
lot
heard
of comments.
I was not here for that, and I even heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fart Potato.
let's see
What's
what
the guy's channel again?
Just put
Fart
Fart
Potato.
Potato.
Toasty
You'll find out.
Biscuits.
Yeah. Toasty Biscuits. Let's see. So Fart Potato, it is now at 5,000. It was at 600 views or whatever it was, and now it is at he only had 70 subscribers. It's 472 now. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
He's crushing it.
Yeah, he's good. My favorite was
Good for him.
Good for you.
Oh, good for you.
And yeah, Fart Potato is the one that blew up. So good for Fart Potato. Okay, cool. You know what? The other thing, when you
What is even life?
who knows? When you and I were walking around Comic-Con, we noticed something that has not been promoted at all,
What?
except at Comic-Con. Crank Yankers.
Oh
Crank
yeah,
Yankers is
I didn't
making
even know.
a
Yeah,
return.
about it.
It
Right.
is.
Yeah, we had no idea. It was
Yeah,
going-
Comedy Central had a booth specifically.
I
about
didn't like the way
Yankers.
I didn't like the booth itself because what they did was Dorina and I are walking. This lady goes, "Here, someone's on the call for you," and we're like, "What?" And it's just you're just listening to a prank phone call that Wanda.
So you have to grab
Sykes is
that
doing.
Germy phone.
Yeah, and you're listening. And you're listening to
yeah.
it, and it's just like that's not the fun. The fun of it is watching the puppets. Like
Yeah.
they should have
Yeah.
the puppets pop up and doing. But it's like, listen, someone's here to talk to you, and it's like that. I could just do that on the internet in the privacy of my own room and listen to it. But
Pam's list.
He was
obviously.
never a Crank Yankers guy.
Did you watch the
No,
episodes?
never. Never watched it.
So you don't know if you were. You just didn't watch
I
it.
just never watched it.
fun.
I listen, but I'll tell you what. I am so curious to see how this season is going to be, because I went back and I listened to a few calls this morning with my wife. With the way how sensitive people are today.
Oh yeah, they're
Oh
obviously
my
gonna get it.
God! Today there was a few phone calls that they made, like, and from people that were doing. There was the one that the character. You seem who's the voice actor that does Ren and Stimpy? What's his name? Oh, you know, come on.
What else does he do?
No,
Yeah,
I
he's like
don't-
he's a famous.
It's not Maurice.
Billy. Shit, what the hell's his name?
It'll probably.
Famous guy.
Who was like the original cast of Crank Yankers?
Well, it was Jimmy Kimmel and Corolla created it.
Oh, really?
But they had like Sarah Silverman.
no shit.
Dude, it was
I
it
did
was
not know
it was
that. I wanna
every
go to
it was like
Hawaii.
every comedian that was on it. Yeah, right.
Billy West,
Yeah.
John
Billy West. It was
Billy
Billy West.
West.
So Billy West did this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Billy West did this. It was a Chinese character named Mushu. There's no
That-
chance he
no.
gets away with it.
It's
There's
just
no
done.
chance he can go away with that character. And there was that. There was stuff. There was. Again, I want to go to Hawaii guy where they're making the guy calls up and he goes, I want to go to Hawaii, yay!
Yeah.
And he's calling a travel agency and he's
Right.
telling them, and they're like,
He's
oh
just
yeah,
really excited about going to Hawaii.
right, and they have the guy in like a helmet and everything too. You can't, I can't imagine, because
It's
Twitter,
such a
Twitter would
shame.
blow up tomorrow and be like, how dare they?
Yeah.
I know. I don't know what that is about. It's like a sorry, Josh, but
No.
really quick, you just made me think of you know how now they're saying that any actor can't play like
Anything else.
anything else other than what they are, which is like that's a conversation that can be long. But you think about movies like The Birdcage, right? I love that movie. Like I think it still holds up, and I think it paved the way for the LGBT community in a way because of when it was in the 90s. But all the characters, like most of them, like were played by straight guys.
I think just
except
Robin
Nathan
Williams,
Lane.
right?
Like
Just Nathan Lane.
Hank
Nathan
Azaria.
Hank Azaria,
You
right.
know,
Right.
you
Robin
know,
Williams.
and so I feel like now people would be pissed about
Probably.
that, even
Yeah.
though that was a good movie. That was actually good for the community.
Right.
You know, so it's interesting how that's
The problem is that you're getting away from you're getting away from a lot of comedy just by putting somebody that is that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can't have fun as a character anymore. That's why like all the characters on SNL have kind of gone away to a
Right.
certain extent. Like
Oh.
there's no more character sksketches because
Right.
they're
the
too
character
worried
side
about
of it. The character side of it, though, I agree with you. I'm on the other. I'm not on the other side, but I do think that there are opportunities. You do take away opportunities from people.
course.
But I do think you should also allow, like, if Robin Williams was still with us and Robin Williams wanted to play a gay guy, or
If they did a sequel or
if Nathan
something.
Lane wants to play a straight guy, he should be
Right.
able to do it. But
Right.
you should also give opportunities to everyone, and not, like you said, the majority of that movie, if it was played by straight people, you should do more. But
if you went back right now and you cast Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain today, would that happen?
no, probably not.
people would be outraged.
Probably today, yeah, probably would. But Ang Lee, gay man, right? So I'm pretty sure he is. And
I'm not sure.
I thought he was, and I thought that it was.
But he definitely made a
did the
movie
casting,
to
yeah.
represent
Yeah.
the community
But
in a good way.
right?
So.
That's my point. But
It's one of the few romantic dramas that I actually like.
I'm more. It goes back to the whole comedy club discussion. That's why I just think cell phones. I think cell phones the same way when you go to a press screening, they put it in a bag. Same thing should happen to comedy clubs. You should not be
100%.
allowed to have a phone in a comedy club.
Nope.
It is for the respect factor of
I
it.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
one, and the other thing is you're coming into, especially, it's one thing if you go into like Radio City Music Hall or Madison Square Garden or like a big venue to go see, your phone should definitely be taken away from you because you should be having respect for the person performing. But when you go into the smaller comedy clubs, like if you go in to see Eddie Murphy, like when he's working out, he's working bits out and he's working on his craft. That's what all comedians are doing. They're working on their craft. So you shouldn't be recording it and posting it out there because, like I said, they might offend you, but that's their right as a comedian to try to do it. Now, it's also their job to try to be funny or not. Now, if they say
And to be
something-
smart about the jokes that they're making.
Like
obviously.
David Tell was the most offensive comedians of all time, but he was always funny because and he had the right to keep trying because there's a lot of these comedians, great comedians. You know all the shit like Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was still with us. Bill Hicks was doing bits at the Comedy Store, and people were recording all his stuff. He would be destroyed out there. And I saw, I don't know what it really the basis of what happened, but did you see that? I don't even know where it happened, but there was some guy in it looked like an open mic, and he was performing, and some guy he jumps out of the front row and starts beating the shit out of the guy.
I mean, that's happened a couple times in the last couple of years. Like a buddy of Adam Ray's got attacked on stage and spent like 14 days in the hospital.
Because everyone's offended by everything.
Yes.
You don't go to a comedy club.
Yeah.
You don't. You can't be. There's so many rules now of what you can say and being offended by everything.
I forget when somebody was like, "Oh, like don't make fun of anxiety." I'm like, I was diagnosed a while ago with a panic disorder. Like comedy is the only thing that makes me release stress in that way about these things. Like you have to laugh at life because life there's pain and there's all this.
Let some steam out.
Okay, I'm fine now. Thanks.
Much better.
No more panic attacks because Kristian said so.
That.
Yeah. So yeah, thank
Put
you.
a bag on your head.
Yeah. But that makes me laugh and laughter isn't the best medicine.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
But that's the difference, though. That's the sense of humor, though, to where when you throw out out into the world or a Twitter or whatever it might be or a clip like that, you laugh at that, but someone else is like doesn't know me, doesn't know anything to you, and says, "Oh my God, he just told that woman to put a bag on her head."
Right.
That is insensitive to bags. It's like that's
I'm
the kind
gonna
of
tweet at him now.
It's the kind of shit that happens. Everyone gets so touchy about everything, and it's like, and that's one thing on Twitter. It's one thing on Twitter because you're not trying to be because. It's not a comedy club.
It stays
so you can,
there forever.
But when you step into that comedy club, I say F you if you're getting offended. F you. A comedy club is the comedian's church. It really is. And I'm so tired of people going, I can't believe that comedian said that.
Did you guys ever listen to Jerky Boys?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Jerky Boys is one of my favorite things in the world. And I went back and I played them and I was playing them for a friend. And he's like, "Man, this is pretty offensive." I was like, "That's the fucking point.
It's the point.
It's the point of it."
Did you hear the one when he calls Silly's Pizza?
Silly's Pizza is my favorite line. What's so silly about it? What do you got? Chicken cutlets?
Hey, is this Silly's Pizza? You know what? Bring up Silly's Pizza.
It is on
we can
there.
play that.
Go YouTube.
Jerky Boys Silly's Pizza. We'll play the Silly's Pizza
Correct.
clip.
Oh my God.
Hey, while they're bringing it up, Josh, since you're a TV guy, have you seen Los Spooky?
No, not yet.
It's so good.
I've heard.
Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Los Spooky? You would love it.
It's Fred Armisen, and it's like
I love Fred
It's
Armisen.
a play off a telenovela, right? But it's spooky.
but it's
There it is,
like
first one.
it's like a
It's a comedy.
It's kind of like a Hispanic modern Ghostbusters. It's so good.
This is the Jerky Boys Silly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fucking silly.
Is that really his voice, or is
he's
doing the voice?
He's got a bunch of different characters. That one is
Dorina, do yourself a favor and just start Googling old Jerky Boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll love it. It's right up your alley.
I'd never heard of it.
There's this one guy they do. He's like, "This is Kessel."
Kessel, yeah. This is Kessel.
It reminds me of the thing that Howard Stern, like when they would call remember
They used to go on Stern all the time.
Well, yeah, so that makes sense because remember that auto-tune pizza delivery or delivery phone call where like they're literally like talking to the pizza, doing their order in an auto-tune voice, and it's so fun. It's like with Parmesan
they used to go on the time.
cheese.
They had their movie too. They had a Jerky Boys movie, and
The Jerky Boys has one of the crazier stories too because they hated each other. They still hate each other.
well, they didn't at first. Though.
They did. They loved each other. They were best
good
friends.
buddies, yeah.
And then they made the movie, and then they started hating each other, and they didn't want to be in the same room as one another, but they had an obligation to make another album. They went and made an album in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then they were just like mortal enemies that hated each other.
Yeah.
So talented.
So that character's name is Frank Rizzo.
Yes.
Frank Rizzo was my favorite. Because, this is Frank. Frank who? Frank Rizzo! Open your fucking ears, jackass! you would love it. There was another one.
Roofing.
The roofing's good when they call the camp.
Oh, the
when he calls the camp, he's like, what's wrong with my kid? They're like shitting in his bag. And it's great.
There's one too that's it's like 30 seconds. He's like, he calls this guy Pablo, and he asks this woman, he's like, Pablo, honey, are you wiping your ass? And he's like, who is this?
It's really good. Go down a rabbit hole, listen to Jerky Boys, you'll lose your mind. It's so fun. So this is how fucking old I am. I remember so they're all New York guys.
Oh yeah.
I was maybe a freshman in high school, and
When was that?
93, 4,
91.
Freshman high school, 92.
2.
Yeah.
I was 10.
Yeah, makes sense.
I was 10.
Yeah. So
I was just born.
fuck off. But
I'm with you, Kristian.
I remember being in the cafeteria, and they were passing around these cassette tapes, and it was the Jerky Boys way before they blew up. It was like what you do, like when artists like would pass around their tapes, and that's how they blew up, like what NWA did, right?
South Park. The original South Park
Right, that came out
episode.
on-
It was a VHS
They were
tape.
just
They
throwing
said,
it
you
out.
gotta see
Right,
this.
right.
Oh,
But this
that's
was,
right. That's right. Yeah.
but this was like a cassette tape, and it was raw. I mean, really raw, and stuff that they would definitely didn't put out and wouldn't be able to put out, and people were losing their minds, and then they just blew up.
Right.
Like Jerky Boys were huge.
My brother brought the tape home. Same thing. My brother's 2 years older than me, and he's like, "You have to effing listen to this." And we're listening to it, and I to this day is one of my favorite things in the world. Like how hard we laughed together in his room, like sitting by the boombox, really quiet because we didn't want our parents to hear because it was so fucking raunchy.
It was the best.
It's just crazy
man.
how much crap I miss because I didn't grow up
Yeah.
here, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't move to the States till 2000.
So
I miss like things like in the 90s and 80s. Like I miss Mr. Show, or I miss like Get a Life, like all these
David's
great
great.
shows.
Mother, Father.
Yeah, it's so good,
Yeah.
man.
So we will. What we should do? Let's all do that together. We'll listen to Jerky Boys calls together.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
When is that going to happen? Are we going to all go to your house and?
We're gonna stop the show right now and let's go.
Honestly, you could do that. You could puff a blunt and listen to it in a car.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's go right now. To your
When I
car.
first moved to LA, I became friends with this dude who was working at the bar where I worked, and we were driving to the Batcade because we'd heard there was like an arcade batting cage. So a couple of us got in the car, and he's like, and I'm looking.
Oh, I thought
through-
it was like
remember-
Batman baseball.
No,
Disappointed.
you could dress as Batman and play
Yeah,
baseball if you
okay,
want
I'll
to.
do that.
Wait a minute,
Kate
that sounds
Mulligan
fun.
talked about it last week.
That's
where
right.
she had her
That
son's-
there's good pizza there.
Good pizza.
Yes.
So
I remember when she said that. I was here as well.
Yes. So
nice.
we're
Good
riding
job,
in his
Kristian.
car, and you know those old, huge CD binders.
Oh,
yeah.
Old. I have a bunch of them in my house.
Still have mine, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine
With
got
regular CDs and
Yes.
mixtapes,
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
and mixed CDs and everything in there.
My wife's like, "Do we really need these?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
Yeah.
duh. Mine got stolen out of my car in New Jersey. So mad.
New Jersey.
So, it was bastards. So I'm rolling through and I just see Jerky Boys like in the Sharpie, and I was like, "Are these Jerky Boy CDs?" He's like, "Yeah, throw them in there." There's 4 grown men just dying in the car. One point we were listening, he pulled over his car because he's like, "I'm gonna throw up." It's the best.
The only other time I laughed that hard was when I was coming back from doing the Saboba Casino with Rick Ingram. And
Oh.
and so Ingram and I had just performed there together, and so there was this manager at the Comedy Store. His name was Tommy, and Alice. Oh wow, okay,
Wow.
you gotta go up tonight. Gonna get 10 minutes right after Joe Rogan, okay? And we Ellis and I would do. Everyone had an impression of Tommy, but Ingram's was, I mean, like spot on.
Yeah.
And we were driving back from Saboba Casino, and he was doing an impression of Tommy talking to one of the like kind of dim-witted door guys. I can't tell you. I won't even attempt to do what he did because, again, talking about offensive stuff that he was saying. I almost ran into like cars on the highway because I was crying laughing, and he kept going knowing that I was laughing so hard. He kept, "Well, don't crash, you could die, no stage time." and like I'm telling you, man, we got to get Ingram in here. We have to get him in here because that one
Is he local?
Yeah, well, he lives in Calabasas.
Yeah.
But
Got a kid now.
Yeah, he's got a kid, and he'll come in and do it too. It's just that's going to be the day where I tell everybody who gets offended by anything, don't watch.
Don't watch this show.
Yeah.
Like you can't watch. Like that's going to be the
Definitely
because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He
I hate
doesn't
the way
care.
you say that.
And-
Some guy attacked me on Twitter because on TV Talk last week, Thad was like, "This episode of Black Mirror, so and so was in. I think Anthony Mackie was in, and I was like, is that the gay one?" And some guy was like, "You can't just call a show gay." And I was like, "Well, they were gay in it. Like they were hooking up. Like
like a
it
gay
was
episode.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not offending. I'm not like saying the F word.
Yeah, you're also not saying it in a negative way.
No,
you're just
like, is that the gay one?
Right.
Right.
I don't know, man. People are pissed about other stuff, and that's just what they're choosing to get mad at.
Did you guys have America's Funniest Home Videos in Mexico?
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I loved it.
The first time, the first episode of America's Funniest Home Videos, I realized that like that was my favorite thing in the world, right? Which is why I can go down wormholes on YouTube of just fails, right?
Oh,
I think it's the funniest shit ever.
I miss Vine so much because of
Vine
that.
was,
yeah.
Well,
right?
it's Jamie Costa made his name from, and Zach King and all those cats.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's like that. Did you guys see that video of the little girl fighting like
With
American
with the
Gladiators?
sticks, yeah.
Oh, what they did to the little baby?
Yeah, it's so funny.
I guess, but
I
still,
thought it was really funny.
It was funny, but it's also like hopefully the kid's okay.
It's just
but, like,
it's fine.
I know, but it's
just
I know.
foam.
I'm offended by it.
As a father of a
You
2-year-old,
big baby.
I'm really offended. You know what, Riley? Open up my Twitter account and tweet. How dare they hit babies in the ass with sticks and knock them into balls? I mean, what is wrong? What is wrong with people?
Dude,
Make a petition.
I still have a little bit of anxiety because my mind it's so fresh and it's so photographic in there of when I pushed Roke off that ledge last week or 2 weeks ago. Like I still have anxiety thinking about like if I had hurt him even more.
That offends me.
Can you please not use that word?
Yes.
Only people with actual anxiety can use that word. Can you please stop that?
Yeah, we want to talk about people who are real cowboys. But,
right.
A fake cowboy, and people don't like when you talk about fake cowboys.
Yep.
Thank you. Right.
That soundbite offends.
And that's the
Very
thing is, and you can't make westerns anymore because unless you're a real cowboy that rides horses on a ranch, you can't actually be in the movie. So
No, exactly. No more westerns.
No.
Done.
Yeah.
Boycott westerns.
Totally. And if you're, you can't make a cop movie unless you're a cop, and you can't make a fireman. I mean, you can't make a fireman movie unless you're a fireman. Everybody knows that. Stupid idiots.
Stupid idiot.
I mean, what John Favreau's going to make another chef movie? There's so many chefs out there without acting work. I mean,
Also, what if you make like a
Yes.
Sasquatch movie?
What-
Then you
what
need
the
actual
fuck?
Sasquatch representation. So.
Again, I think you guys are diving into a different pool with that
Yeah, I know.
conversation. Because that particular conversation to me is I think there's valid arguments with that
I
particular
completely
conversation.
agree. I just think that there should be balance to everything, and I think that
Agreed.
people should complain when there are things that like. A perfect example is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like the more I think about that movie, that more I like it.
Yeah.
But I also understand why some people, like didn't like the Bruce Lee thing. I get it, and you can have a conversation about that. And there's points on both
the
both
guy
sides.
was Asian, right?
Well, but it's
No,
not.
it's not about that. It's the way
It's not
he was.
about
It's
that.
the way he was portrayed.
It's portrayed
Yeah.
like a cartoon, and even his daughter was like, "That's just not."
But she was really cool. Though I loved reading her article because she actually said that she understood
What
that
they were going
Tarantino
for.
was going for a cartoonish version of it, right? So as much as she was kind of sad about it,
She got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's the way you should look at it, right?
I think a perfect example of something like where this argument does come into play is like Prince of Persia.
right.
It's like
Or like the Great
Ghost-
Wall.
Yeah.
No, the Great Wall is different. The Great Wall is different. Did you see the movie?
No, was that
Great
not
Great
a
Wall's
thing?
different.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the Great Wall's
No,
different.
why?
Because that was there were two Westerners that came in. It wasn't a true
Oh,
story.
okay.
It's a fantasy movie, and
Okay.
it's like two Westerners that come in. It's Pedro Pascal and
Matt Damon,
Matt
right?
Damon.
And Prince
that-
of Persia was actually
Prince of Persia.
Jake
He was
Gyllenhaal.
the Prince of Persia. So like that. So yeah, the Great Wall is a very
That's
different because
bad.
that was the original
Right.
argument for everybody. It's like, you're doing a Great Wall with two white, one white guy,
Yeah.
and you look at it's he's brought in. He's a
Yeah.
foreigner in that land, and the movie stinks anyway.
Right.
And Prince of Persia is not any better, but like casting Jake Gyllenhaal,
Yeah.
like we think they did it right when
Yeah.
like going with Aladdin and
Yeah.
Mulan, like
or
that to
like
me.
the Scarlett Johansson thing. Like I get when people complain about that too.
The
Right.
Ghost in the Shell one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
no,
yeah.
what was it? Ghost in the Shell?
Ghost
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Shell.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I get those types of things
Me
for
too.
sure. Like I completely
that's,
agree.
That's what I'm saying to where that's the argument. I can like when Alonzo was in here too, and we were talking about it. Like you can surround the cast with whoever you want, but when there's a particular lead role, you're never going to know if you're going to have the right representation. Or you can't just say, "Oh, there's no one out there." There isn't because you're not looking for them.
Right.
Like you have to look because you that's the whole point. That should be the excitement of producers is to create. You have the power to create and the new star to find the talent. There's so many talented people out there, and I don't know if it was you and I talking about this off air. But I think it was off air when we were walking. It was. We were in San Diego. So Dorina, the conversation that we were having was somewhere out in the world, right? There is the best boxer of all time. But it's never picked up a glove. He's never gotten to. He's got the talent to do it, but he's never been trained, and he never will. There's the best, football player out there. There's the best violinist, but has never picked up the violin and has no idea the talent. Like there are some people who fall into it,
that are
born
disciplined
to
and
do it, able to
practice.
do it, and,
Right.
and the right paths, and fate took them there. Michael Jordan, right?
Right.
But imagine if Michael Jordan never picked up the basketball and did something else too. His
Baseball.
and baseball also, right? But there's so many different things that there are people out there that whether it's doubt, whether it's circumstance, whatever it might be, there's someone like that was better.
Fit. Or,
No, but better like, by numbers than Muhammad Ali at boxing. You say, oh, that's not true. Process of elimination. There's so many people out there that
It's like aliens.
Yeah. There's just so many different people, so billions of people that have never tried to do a particular talent. That's why it's always doubt. It's
and also it's. I mean, honestly, it's people. It's who you surround yourself with, right? Because if you're always in this bubble of the same types of people that you hang out with, then you're not going to meet other people that are different than you, that have these talents that you can work with and
it's also
collaborate with.
circumstance, and the circumstance also too, right? Because there are people out there that like they're again, let's say the most talented volleyball player all time out there, never picked up a volleyball, doesn't even know that they'd be so good at volleyball, but is taking care of her family, taking care of her mother, taking care of just. It's a dream. Like I think I'd be good at this, but I can't ever try. And
I know I would
did.
be horrible at all the sports.
You don't know that.
But I'm really good at video games.
Yeah, you don't know what you. But my point is that there's and there might be another talent that you had out there. Like for example, you're so musically inclined.
Yeah,
right?
no, I mean,
Things
I
that
grew
you
up
did,
playing
right,
instruments,
playing music.
yeah.
That who knows what the hell happens if there's something that for everybody out there that their talent. It just never gets explored.
Totally.
Like the Bronx Tale.
Totally.
Wasted talent.
Wasted talent.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You, speaking of wasted
nice.
night,
Agreed.
The wife was supposed to go see Lion King with her friends last night. They got there late, so they changed their ticket and went to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It's a way better movie than Lion
without
King.
you.
But did
She was with two of her friends.
Did she like it? You said she wasn't going to like that.
No. She came home. I was like, "How was it?" And she was like, "I don't think it was good."
I think
I
a lot
knew
of
that's what she was gonna
do you
say.
think that's why because the movie was, and I talked about this on the Wanger show, you guys should watch it, with Cody, the great Cody Hall.
Yeah.
But people, the way the movie was announced was surrounding the Charles Manson murders, right? And I feel like the movie really, it was like a looming presence, but it wasn't that,
No.
right?
Yeah.
It was more of a on the background. Like the movie was about Hollywood and
about
this
Hollywood
friendship
and this
between
friendship.
these two dudes. So I wonder if that's why people had this misconception and went into it thinking something else.
I mean, my
and got
wife said the
disappointed.
same thing you guys all said. She was like, "I don't think I really like the movie, but I cannot take away anything from the chemistry and the performance that Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio
And
gave."
the
She
way
said
the
they were
movie was
fantastic.
shot too, dude.
I love
God, it
those.
was
I really
so
love the
beautiful.
movie. But
The
Yeah.
common movie fan
I
won't know
love
that.
it.
What?
I
The
love
common
it so
movie
much.
fan will
Yeah,
not know
no,
that.
I know.
Yeah.
no.
You know, my mom liked it a lot, and that's
Yeah.
it's my mother.
Did
My
she know
mom
what she
did
saw?
not.
Yeah.
My mother did not.
My mom thought it was a masterpiece.
What happened?
Oh no! Your comment. Did you know what she saw? Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
sure
walked
did.
in.
Her boyfriend just did not like it.
I have to tell you, that movie, it wasn't the same kind of Marvel movie I'm used to.
Yeah, there was no post
There
credit
was
scene.
no Hulk
I know.
and
I
no
started watching
Thor.
Endgame again last night.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I wanted to because Sadie's credit, I put it on. I was like, well, because I want to watch Infinity War with her first because
Yeah.
we watched it like whatever it was 6 months, 8 months ago. I was like, I want you to get caught up with this stuff before we watch it, otherwise you're not gonna know what's going on. So we're watching it. She's like, yeah. He gets the stones. He dusts everybody. She's like, let's watch the next. And
Nice.
I'm like,
Nice.
I was like,
She nailed it.
And I was like, okay. I was like, let's watch. I was like, let's watch. There's a couple scenes, and I showed like there's just scenes that I know play into the next one, and then we watched like the end of it, and we started watching. We watched like 45 minutes of the new one, and it's so good.
Great.
What's your favorite movie of the year so far? Is it the Peanut Butter Falcon
Mine
movie?
is 100%
It's up there right now.
Peanut
I mean,
It's-
it's fresh on my mind, but I put that up there with it's big blockbusters, Endgame, and then this one's probably up
Let me
there
just
for
say this though: I'm going to see Hobbs and Shaw on Saturday, so
Yeah.
I'm saving my favorite of the year so far until I see that.
Okay, fair enough.
Because-
What about you, Ray?
How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Aw.
I forgot that
Hidden
movie
World.
came out this year.
So damn good. Yeah,
I forgot it
beautiful.
came out. It's a
I
good
just
movie.
saw Toy Story 4. I had not seen that, which
Did you
is
like it?
weird.
Do you
Yeah,
like
I did.
it?
It's good.
I did. I didn't cry, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Do you cry though?
Sometimes.
Have you ever cried?
They fixed that duct.
Yeah, well, it's hard because I actually cry blood, so it's
Oh,
really
yeah, that's
messy,
tough.
and so
Makes
I need
sense.
to do it
Makes
in private.
Makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah, not scare people.
I don't know if we have 15. I guess we do have 15.
I have an announcement really
Uh-oh.
quick.
Oh, no.
So, music-wise, it's a good announcement.
Yeah.
So the awesome people at Golden Voice, who do Coachella and a bunch of other music festivals, have invited me to go to this awesome new festival curated by the Cure's Robert Smith, and obviously they invited this goth, and it's going to be on August 31st at the Rose Bowl in LA, and I'm going to be there. You guys should get tickets. It's awesome. It's going to be The Cure, Pixies, Deftones, Mogwai, Chelsea Wolf. There's a bunch of cool bands, and you can get tickets at Pasadena Daydream, and it's also for charity. So where is it? It's $1 of the proceeds will actually go to charity. So check that out, you guys. There's nothing cooler to me than music
that's really
festivals.
cool.
It's weird that you bring this up too, because I was watching Fight Club last night, and the Pixies do that song at the end of Fight Club.
Mm-hmm. Where's My Mind?
I love Pixies. The other Pixie song I like is from Pump Up the Volume, and it's
Which song is on there?
Wave of Evolution.
No, Wave of Mutilation.
Wave of Mutilation.
Yeah,
That's it. I love
and
it.
if you've never seen the Pixies live, they're so
I want to see them. I like, but I wish I could go.
Why can't you? Because
New
of
York.
kids?
New York.
That's it. Okay.
It's the New York
So
show.
if you're in New York, go to the Schmodown, and if you're in Los Angeles, there you go.
Yeah,
Go to Pasadena Daydream.
And
Pasadena
in
Daydream.
October, if you're in Orlando.
Orlando.
So listen to this. If you're in SoCal, then you go and you get these tickets and you go see Dorina and check out this cool festival that I would definitely be at if it wasn't for New York.
It's not inside the Rose Bowl. It's the Brookside at the Rose Bowl. So it's
correct.
like Arroyo Seco.
Check that out. That's
Right.
cool though.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
and
and
you'll be there kicking ass.
Yes, I love festivals. It's like my favorite thing. I know Coachella, people think it's a scene. It's not. Like if you actually go and not to see celebrities, like there's so many good new bands that you find. It's just so great. Everyone's there just to have a good time, and people that are passionate about music just want to dance. Like your people that love yacht rock are there, and we all just want to dance like old people.
Yeah.
It's great.
I want to go.
All right, well, check that out.
Yeah.
That is
Let's do
August
it.
31st for Dorina. If you're at the East Coast side, come see the Schmodown at the Schmodown Live New York. We will be there. Paul Oyama defending the championship against either Mike Kalinowski, Ben Bateman, or Jeff Sneider. Any one of those. Big main event. And then a tournament match. Ethan Irwin, former champ, against Haley Fouch. Very tough, formidable opponent in Haley Fouch.
My
And
favorite. I
in
love that girl.
September, Arizona. Chance Ellison, Bibiani in the main event, and on the undercard, late to the party battles, the Wildberries. And then lastly, Orlando.
Such a good musical, man.
The card hasn't been announced yet for that one, except the main event will be the singles finale, unless a couple things move around that I think that might, and then the singles finale might even bump to an undercard because the main event would be that good. But I'm looking to see all that stuff. Make sure you go to theschmodownlive.com. Not only do you get your tickets to the actual event itself, but go and suggest what city you want us to come. You can do that. Just go to theschmodownlive.com, suggest your city. So many people have been doing that already. We've seen a huge increase. I'm going to find out today what city's in the lead.
That was
Pittsburgh.
what I was going to ask.
Yeah, Pittsburgh would be interesting. We'll see. I think last I saw Boston was number one, but we'll check. I'm going to check in.
Can you do events out of the country?
Not yet. I don't have the cash for it. We're still independently produced.
Right.
So until we get a sponsor, or that's why I tell people, and I told people yesterday, what I'm going to do is, Brett Sheridan and I are going to start like a little side funny little show that we'll probably make just for if you join the Schmodown Patreon, you'll get it because it's going to be on the Schmodown channel. It'll be myself and Brett Sheridan. It's going to be us goofing around.
Nice.
But that won't happen until September. But if you join like the $1 tier, you'll get the show.
Very
So
cool.
Anyway, we are still talking about some bullshit.
Let's talk about some bullshit then.
Can we do so? Let's do bullshit first. We'll do movie news later. What do you got?
Let's talk about being offended, but they want to move Halloween. And I love the article that
I saw
Nerdist put
that.
up. Is like a bunch of lame parents want to change the date of Halloween.
Yeah.
And they
How
want to
dare
make it so they created a petition that is 60,000 people have signed it so far.
That's
I wonder
nothing.
if there's more.
Halloween
No,
is
nothing.
not for lame
To
parents.
put it on the last Saturday, however it falls every
Halloween is for Satan
Yeah.
and goths and all the people that not really.
I would
No,
kinda
but
lean
it's
towards
not
the
for
other
lame
one.
parents.
It's not for lame parents. It is for kids just getting candy. I mean, that's the point of Halloween.
Yeah,
Not really.
But
is.
it's both. It's
It's-
both. It's for children
for
to
both.
get candy and to dress up, and then it's for
And stay up
people to
late
go
and-
out,
And
wear
for-
sexy costumes, and have sex at night.
Yes.
No,
That's
how
true.
dare
What?
you? That is not Halloween
As was
What?
when I was
for you.
when I was single.
It's not
the
about
only-
sexy
the
costumes.
only-
I've never.
I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about just.
What's
for,
your sexy Halloween costume that you wore?
I was Achilles as Troy.
Were you?
Were you really?
No, it was a kissing booth.
To which he, I remember that very well.
He got
kicked it,
mad.
and
They
then
beat the
kicking
shit- they
it
beat the shit out
down.
of
Yeah,
him.
did you pay to to
I
get
did
on the
not
kissing
pay,
booth?
but no, I did not. But I watched him kick it all the way down
Beat the
Blackburn
shit out of
Avenue.
that thing. Yeah.
Here's the point of Halloween, right? Is that everybody has a different idea of what Halloween should be. Clearly, a person who is into goth and killing people for sacrifice on the 30th.
Don't kill
And
people.
it's animals.
All Hallows Eve.
No, animals are better than people.
No, she takes hot dogs and she beats the shit out of them over a balcony. I've seen her do it.
Yeah.
Just Oscar Mayer once.
Everybody's got a weird tradition on Halloween. Dorina just happens to be summoning the ghost and the devil.
Just
and
hang
do one
out
thing.
with like all my paranormal friends.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. This is
I
to show
prefer
you.
to
This
see
is to show
this
you her priorities. by
Poison
the way.
Ivy that's basically naked at Barney's Beanery. That's
Rewinding the tape here. So when I say, it's just people, have sexy costumes have sex. How dare you?
Yeah.
Where she had just said, it's for Satan.
Yeah.
And for death.
But technically, it comes from the Gaelic festival,
Right.
Samhain. And if you guys
Yeah.
haven't seen Trick or Treat, that's where the little
Yeah,
guy
I'm good
Sam
on
is
that
from there
one.
because it's the best Halloween movie.
Sounds like a
So,
baseball announcer. And joining
Sam
me on the
Hine?
desk, Sam Hine.
Samhain?
Well,
Samhain? I don't know how to say it.
it's me, Sam Hine, live here in Tempe, Arizona, as the Tempe Wildcats
But they
take
are-
on the Reno Regalia.
Hoping Johnson gets it together. He's been a little shoddy in his last 3 performances.
I'll tell you what, Dick, it has been a hot one out here today. They got a strong left-hander on the mound for Tempe. What do you think is going to be thrown out there today?
Listen, I can tell you one thing. We just got to be careful. He keeps it a little lower than he has been because that ump has been known to call it low.
I will tell you what, last week he wore a cup the size of my left fist, and I could see his balls right through it.
You know, that's not really an appropriate thing to be talking about here, but I got to tell you, I agree thoroughly.
And today's game is brought to you by Bowel Cream, Dan's Bowel Cream. Keeps the balls warm while you're throwing hot heat.
I'm wearing it now.
Warm balls
Yeah.
are funny.
Here's the update. There's 129,533 signatures now, but there is an update.
Sign Dorina up on that. Put her name in there.
No.
Put her name in it.
No.
Do it.
Josh.
She's cursing your house.
I will. Josh, I'm going to
The update, we've
I'm
listened
gonna
to all
curse you
of your
right now.
feedback since the petition started and view this as an opportunity to truly honor what Halloween is, a celebration of self-expression and unity. While we still believe the end of October Saturday observance will promote safety and increase the fun, this year we will be launching a national incentive designed to enhance the Halloween. So they essentially maybe want to add a different kind of holiday.
Well, they think.
I mean, if we get 2 Halloweens,
I
that's
know.
not a big
Well,
deal.
But the parents think that it'll make it safer, and also because of kids, you getting out of school like 3, 4 o'clock,
yeah.
and then they don't start trick or treating until like 5, and then they get it's.
But I don't get why is it
So
more
I signed
dangerous?
up Dorina Avalongo at
Avalongo?
Avalongo
Oh, okay.
at Dorina Killed Halloween at yahoo.com. Sign.
Yeah, that's gonna say.
You're helping them.
Yep.
You're helping the lame parents.
Oh,
Josh.
can you chip in $2 to get this agenda petition on the
Oh, there
agenda?
you go.
No,
It's a scam.
that's a no for me.
So many people are adding
Why do
20
you-
bucks.
Why?
$10?
They're adding $20.
What are you doing?
Oh, look, there's Joshua Jaramillo. He's related to you, right?
Of course, we all know each other.
Correct.
My cousin, anybody with the name Fernandez.
Oh, yeah,
Mark
definitely.
Fernandez and I are
You guys
totally
are related, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So why are they? Why is it dangerous?
Riley
I don't
turned
get
into
it.
my grandfather 2 seconds ago.
Wait a minute. $20? Yeah. What's happening?
$30?
You turned into
30,
Dad Riley.
What do they do? What do they do? Your
I just-
taxes for you when you sign up?
I just don't. I can't understand somebody going, you know what? I'm giving $20
How
to
about,
this.
know.
how about this one, though? Amy Perkins at $7.
$7.
$7.
There are
But like-
homeless people,
but how
and
do you-
people are giving money to
Yes,
this
exactly.
bullshit.
Exactly.
Because they're waking up, they're going.
I don't
Finally,
understand.
someone's requested it. Oh my God! It was the idea that I thought, oh, my first Billy Joel, and now this.
That was a good concert, though.
Oh my
I'm tired every year waking up with my children on a Tuesday, dressing them up for school, and then getting out of work early to take them trick-or-treating before nightfall. And that will not happen this year. That will not happen.
This shit is gonna change.
Yeah, and no more caramellos apples.
That's it.
right.
Put the razor blades in your Snickers. I love.
Did that actually ever happen?
Okay, that was my favorite year of
Did-
Halloween. Was that the year that like
was every
supposedly
year.
there was but one year in Pittsburgh supposedly in our neighborhood some kid got cut by a razor blade. I come home, I dump the thing on the thing, and my mom's like picking through it. My dad goes, Who cares?
Sure. Do you guys watch? You guys always watch. Kimmel does it every year when they.
My favorite.
But
When
they
when
tell the kids that they've
they
eaten
lie
their,
to the kids that they ate the candy.
They're
It's
going
one of my
nuts.
favorite things, man.
true.
They get so mad.
There
the
was a video going around today, and it might be old, I don't know, but they did that trick where they pull up the towel and the whole family says that the person's invisible.
Yeah, yeah.
And the little girl.
Oh my
did
God,
you
that's
see
the
it?
best.
The little girl is on the ground just going. Like she's screaming, and they were like, "What do we do?" Like the kids were there. Like,
Here's the. I did that to my daughter. Not the.
Did
not
you?
But this shows you my daughter. God, I love this kid. I say to my oldest daughter, I go, all right, I'm gonna do this magic trick. I'm invisible. Baby, I can't see you. Oh my God, what's going on? She's like, yes. She starts running around the house. She's like, like this, and she's like, Dad. And she's like, starts picking stuff up and throwing. Like, all right, stop. All right, imagine I can see you again, right? And she's like, make me invisible again. She didn't give a shit that no one could see her. She started using it for her own advantage.
You should do the Halloween trick. Would she fall for it?
Which one?
The Jimmy Kimmel
I
Halloween
think I tried
trick.
to do it once to her, and she just goes, "You're lying." She knows.
Nah, she's smart.
She's smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's more nonsense, right?
More nonsense. Speaking of Josh doing his play-by-play announcer, click on that on the kid ump. Says
don't say it.
Yep.
Just you give away the bit.
Yeah, it's really.
Where is it?
the bottom one.
And thanks to the, I love the Collider Live fans. They hit me up with some great stuff.
Collider Live fans
turn this
are
up.
the best.
Please, Cody.
Oh, this guy's amazing. His
Is
name's
there
Bob.
sound?
I just started following this guy.
Oh, there we go.
He says the strike zone. You see it? It's right here. Easy, Helen Keller. Let's start fucking calling this game right. Pointing his finger at the umpire. That's not going to go well. This kid has a bad temper. Anger management classes needed for this one. Now kicking. Dirty's fucking out of here. He throws him out for that. He says, points the finger, tells the ump to go fuck himself. And now, actually, we haven't seen this before. He's going back to the dugout, which is a good sign. It means he's gained his composure back, and now we will get back to baseball. Not a chance, no. Now he's coming out with two baseball bats. They're as big as him, and he says, fuck you, and then he says, fuck you. That was the second one. This kid is heated. If you hadn't seen it before, there was obviously some controversy in the last game as he approached the pitcher and had a field day with him, and now he's just saying fuck you to the umpire. Throwing every bat he has to his name, throwing it out in the middle of the field, and now we got a fucking a baseball jug being dumped on the field, and this is the epitome of disrespect as Stuart Little just dumps those balls and barely get him off. But that's the final fuck you. He is now making his way to the umpire to send him his last little words that he has, and let's see what it is. Slams the hat to the ground, which is the ultimate go fuck yourself.
Wow.
That's really funny.
So good.
Cody, had you seen that before?
Not that one, but that guy's done a bunch of it.
Yeah, he's good.
Oh
Bob
my
Menery's
God.
really good.
Cody, what if your kid comes out like that?
He's got
Would you be proud?
I'd cheer him on.
I don't know.
Yeah, good for you.
His name on Instagram is just Bob Menery, and he does like tons of famous sporting things. Like he did.
Sounds like Bob Costas.
Yeah, it's
That's kind of
great.
the point, yeah.
And the point is that he's saying, he's being totally blue, but dude, I'd laugh so hard at those things. He did one with like LeBron James, and a couple years ago when the dude thought that they were in the lead, and LeBron James walks up, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, he's good.
Did you guys ever ump baseball when you were growing up? Did you ever ump?
No, I did
Little
like
League?
once.
Okay.
Once.
So I umped a lot of baseball. Like when you're in like
Umpire.
Is that you're an umpire?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was in like 9th, 10th, 11th, like in high school, like, you could ump. What's it called? You could ump Little League, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the best part is when you umped a Little League game afterwards, every umpire got a free hot dog. So I'd ump like 4 games in a row, 4 hot dogs,
Nice.
crushing it, right? So I think you guys can imagine what kind of an umpire I was, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
So I, like kids are going down looking, and I was like, "Yeah!" Like I was doing like the big things, like karate kicks and stuff like that. So after the one game, this mom comes up to me and she's like, "Do you do children's birthday parties?"
You would talk about crushing. You would crush children's
Yeah,
birthday
yeah.
parties.
Well, yeah, he'd be the drunk clown that shows
Yeah,
up
it'd be great.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, look,
Bozo.
we're going to go to a break. When we get back from the break, we are going to talk about the latest and greatest in movie news. We got a confirmation from Ava DuVernay herself. It says Darkseid will be in New Gods, and we're going to talk about it after the break.
Hey guys, Riley here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. You looking for a Star Wars fix? Well, Rule of Two is that show. It drops on Collider Video's main YouTube channel, as well as on Podcast One's Jedi Council feed. So go over there, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. We talk everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of deep dives and a lot of conversations that go all in. You know what to do. Subscribe, join us there, and rise.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, the host of Collider Mailbag. A new episode drops every Saturday and Sunday in your face and in your ears, answering the questions from you fans about the world of entertainment, film, and television. Me and great guests from our sphere do the best to answer your questions from Twitter, from Instagram, and of course, email as well, every Saturday and Sunday.
Hi, I'm Coy Jandro, host of Collider Heroes, and I'm here to tell you we've got 20-minute episodes coming at you on Collider Video, on the YouTube, as you've always loved it. Plus, now we've got hour-long podcasts dropping every Thursday, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast, because it's going to get even more sweaty on the podcast. Plus, every week we're going to try to get some very special guest interviews, all of the people that help shape these movies and TV shows you love. So, video, podcast, interviews, all coming at you. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. Stay sweaty.
Hey guys, Perry Nemiroff here to let you know that The Witching Hour is all over Collider right now. You can listen to that horror-filled podcast with myself, with Haley Fouch. We talk about witchiness, we talk about slashers, we talk about space horror, you name it, all on that show on the Collider Factory feed. We also have clips on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel, and on top of that, you can find an article all about Witching Hour every single Tuesday on Collider.com. Check it out, get scared. Hopefully you subscribe to Witching Hour.
What's up, Collider fans? Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com, where you can find the top stories throughout the week in the world of professional wrestling. Okay. If you're a wrestling fan like myself, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not checking out all the shows we do every week on YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. In particular, on Wednesdays, we've got a SmackDown recap show hosted by John Roca and myself, where we pick apart and talk about every little thing that happened on the Blue brand. So do yourself a favor and go subscribe at youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet.
Hey guys, Perry here to let you know about the new edition of Collider Movie Talk. We are going to 5 days a week. We have a short, sweet 20-minute show where we focus on the two biggest stories of the day. You can expect to see all of your favorite Collider personalities on the show, including Jeff Sneider, John Roca, Haley Fouch. You're getting Josh McCouga every Friday. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be informative, fun. Come join us. 3 p.m. PT live every single day of the week, right here on the Collider Video YouTube channel. You can also find the show on the Collider Movie Talk feed on our podcast network, so go watch, go listen, however you prefer to get all of your movie news.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, the host of Collider Sports Time. Well, you know, if you've been watching us every week, you know we break down the latest and the greatest in the world of sports, talk about the big issues, the big games, all of it with a rotating band of guests like Matt Nelson, John McCouga. We've had Taylor Bisciotti on. We've had so many great guests. Now, if you want to see more of Sports Time or you want to try it out for the first time, remember to subscribe to Collider Sports YouTube channel. And if you want to take us along with you in your ears, you can go and subscribe to the Collider Sports podcast feed for all the
big,
sports
and then
goodness.
we'll watch it.
Hey guys, it's Riley here. Let me tell you about the Riley Roundtable. You know it, right? It drops every Thursday on Collider Conversations, and I have guests from all across the space. John Roca, Gray Drake, Alexander Desplat came on at one point. We talk everything from movies, we talk about life, and everything in between. What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? It's the Riley Roundtable every Thursday on Collider Conversations. You get it there.
Jesus. Hello, how are you guys doing? I'm Kristian Harloff. I'm the host of Collider Jedi Council. We talk about everything Star Wars, and if you want to catch our weekly show where we talk about the latest and greatest in Star Wars, it's movie news, it's canon, it's all of it. We take questions from you guys. How do you do it? Main channel, that's right here. Subscribe to this channel, and you can listen, you can watch, you can do all of it, but if you want to just listen to it, you got the podcast feed too. Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, you can listen to it in your car. Do all of it. It's Star Wars Episode 9's coming out, and then after Episode 9, you got TV shows, so we're going to be your sports center for Star Wars. Do it. Come on. Be real. Shoes and beef.
What is this, Dumb and Dumber?
No.
Wait.
What is what?
Justice League?
Hold on. I want to hear it.
Aquaman? Oh, you missed it.
I can't hear it. Damn it. Aquaman.
We're gonna get flagged for this. What is it?
Keep talking over it.
What is it, Cody?
It's Justice League.
That's right. I was
Yeah,
right.
You were right.
All right. Thank you so much. Why did you tell me I was right, Cody?
My man.
Was Darkseid in Justice League?
Yeah, that's why.
No,
What?
he wasn't.
It was
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
You're absolutely right.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be.
He was teased, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was
but he-
teased.
Yeah,
that's
in
what I'm
Batman
saying.
v
So
Superman.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't.
He's probably in the Sneider cut. Hey,
He blew it.
Yeah.
You know how you can really get under Mark Riley's skin?
Dance.
Either support Donald Trump or talk about anything that has to do with Superman. Because you can just see him blood boiling. He was teased in BVS.
No, it's because I hate Justice League. It's so bad.
That's so
Because
interesting
they
to me
were
that
supposed-
because we both love Man of Steel, and I didn't
Yeah.
hate Justice League, but you hated it, huh?
Yeah, because
My man.
it was Frankenstein's monster. It opens up with Superman with a big, "Hey, how you doing, kids?"
Yeah.
It's like,
But you didn't even like parts of it, like when
Superman
Superman
scene
is
is
like
awesome.
fighting all of them,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
the
awesome.
that I
Flash
liked.
comes in.
I
like
liked
there's
when
That was the
Superman
only
had him.
cool
And he was
part.
like looking.
no, there was a couple other ones.
I like that. That was my favorite part.
I liked Flash a lot.
It's just I did. I wanted Snyder's version.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I heard
me
there was
too.
really great,
Well, we
great
didn't
things
get
happen.
we didn't get Darkseid on that film or in that particular version, or the universe where it was going at that particular time. But Ava DuVernay, who is directing New Gods, says that Darkseid will be in her film. Is that accurate, Ryan?
That is accurate.
What'd she say?
She was doing an interview and teased that Darkseid and the female Furies will appear in New Gods. Adding that while she's keeping her mind open regarding casting, there's a 99% chance that an actor from When They See Us will also appear in the movie, which I think
cool.
is pretty damn cool. So yeah, she was doing a Twitter Q&A, and she confirmed that people are asking, "What about your New Gods?" and will Darkseid finally appear? And she confirmed it. So
That's pretty cool.
Jeff Sneider also kind of, because Ava DuVernay likes to work with good people that she continues to work with, he started to speculate who else might be in this movie and was going through a list of people that, and a lot of it was, When They See Us. And she's also currently writing it with comics veteran Tom King, which I think is
awesome and very beloved in the DC Comics community and
it's
for
all-
writing Batman and all that stuff.
So give me a breakdown on New Gods. So people who are not familiar with it.
New Gods, I'm not too sure about, but it's created by Jack Kirby, who
As are the
positioned
female
Darkseid
Furies
as
as
the
well.
main antagonist in the epic story. As for the Furies, DuVernay has previously revealed herself as a fan of Big Barda, the leader of the all-female fighting force.
And that's cool because we've never seen them actually. We've only seen them in obviously the comics and then TV and animated and stuff like that. But we never see them in like a feature film. I think we saw them in Smallville a little bit, but that was it.
The kid that was in When They See Us, who got nominated for an Emmy, his name is Jarrell Jerome. Now, there's a bunch of people from the show that got nominated for Emmys, whatever, because that show is, I think that's definitely the most powerful show that's been released this year, and definitely one of my favorites without a doubt. It's hard to like say it's your favorite because it's so hard to watch. Like it's so hard to watch. But Ava DuVernay crushed it.
But just brilliantly made.
And this guy's name is Jarrell Jerome, and he played Corey Wise, and he was also in Mr. Mercedes. This kid's going to be an effing star. I would imagine he's going to be in, he's the next big, maybe in the Black Panther franchise or one of these things that if Ava DuVernay does it, this kid, Jarrell Jerome, is going to be a megastar.
So you're thinking he probably will show up in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I think it's crazy that all of these characters that have been created by people like Jack Kirby, it's like these people created so many amazing characters that like we still have a bunch of movies
And Jack
to see.
Kirby did Marvel too,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
he did
Well, he's
Marvel and
mostly
DC.
known for Marvel. He did Captain America. Like he created all those, but then he also created the Female Furies.
Yeah.
And so he ended up working. And I forget what the name of the DC Comics publishing was before DC.
Action Comics?
No, it was like new.
Good call. Yeah.
It was something else. I don't know, but he created characters for both Marvel and DC.
got it.
Yeah.
So Darkseid, I think, is it's kind of a rival to Thanos, right?
Yeah, they're very similar.
They're similar.
I mean, I guess they're pretty similar.
I don't know enough about Darkseid. I didn't know shit about Thanos before he popped up in the movie. So I know it's a kind of an intimidating force, and if they have a big bad that kind of comes out to set this whole thing up, then it's great. And I want to see what Ava DuVernay is going to do in this type of space also.
And then Tom King, the awesome comic book writer that's co-writing the screenplay with her, like speaks very highly of collaborating with her. Like so that's
And she's
most
calling
people
him
who
a
work
genius.
with her do. because she just has that kind of relationship with most people she works with. She's got a big voice. So I'm always excited to see what she's going to do.
Well,
next.
he says she's just like not snobbish about things, and like she wants you to collaborate with her, and like that's hard to find.
Yeah.
So.
I was on an episode of Movie Fights a long time ago, maybe a year ago, and I forget what the question was, but I think it was like, who would you like to see direct a superhero movie that hasn't done one yet, or something like that? And I said Ava DuVernay, right? And then I was like, okay, so a lot of people saw Wrinkle in Time. I did not. It was like, how can you talk about Ava DuVernay if you've never seen Wrinkle in Time? But she's fantastic. I mean, listen, if you can pull off what she pulls off on When They See Us, she can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they might finally introduce Darkseid here, and then maybe this can finally set up to Justice League. However, they're going to start moving in that direction because of Aquaman and Wonder Woman and all this. Now we get new gods. Hopefully we can get a redo on Justice League.
Well, there you go.
A redo, huh?
Yes, a redo.
I don't think you're going to. But all right, let's.
So you don't think sooner or later we're going to get another Justice League?
I mean, look, this is what they've set up in every one of these, whether it's Marvel or DC, is that with the you can fool around with time, right? So if depending on
did it in Fox did it with Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and then they did it with Avengers, and they could do it, and they even teased that in Batman v Superman. So anything's possible. Anything's possible. All right, what's next?
Did you guys see the trailers?
Why'd you spill your beans?
Why'd you spill your beans?
Why'd you spill your beans? The Lighthouse. Did you guys not see the Lighthouse trailer?
Oh, no.
Dude, it looks
The
so
Lighthouse
good.
trailer.
Willie Deaf, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe.
Yeah.
I highly recommend this trailer. Shot in black and white. It's Robert Eggers who did The Witch, and it's
This movie looks absolutely. I mean.
This is a Dorina movie. This is not a Josh movie.
This is not a Josh
so
McCougan
far
movie.
out of my lighthouse.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So you'll be watching this?
Yes, 100%. Like the trailer started, I was like, nope.
What do you? So
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
No, my God, this movie.
What are you dreading? What are you dreading more before we get into the story? Halloween Horror Nights, or It Chapter 2?
It Chapter 2.
Yeah. Really?
Dude, it's a 3-hour movie. That first It, I still think of that fat little kid in that library looking at that creepy woman.
Oh,
in that
that's
painting.
so good.
So good.
But this is a full-on adventure that we're going through a lot of different horror things at the.
But I'll have some of you guys to hold on
You
to.
will. Yeah. I mean, Katie's coming with us. You gonna come with us?
Yes,
too?
of course. I'm going to all. We should take him to all of the things.
No,
Not
no,
Scary
no, no,
Farm.
He can't handle all that.
No.
Halloween Horror Nights is the most tame.
That's
so,
what I'm saying. This
so
is the
let's
most
start
tame.
there, and maybe
I will
next
request
year.
after Halloween Horror Nights that you guys take me to the In-N-Out on Lankershim.
Yes.
Okay.
We'd
Have
be
you
happy
reached
to do
out
that.
to Universal yet? Because we should probably get on that sooner than later.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because that's if we have, especially
We
if we say that
have to go
Katie's
in
coming,
September because that's when they use
Yeah.
the press preview stuff.
Right.
September, I think.
Well, you got connections on that too. We just
Yeah.
got to make sure that we have. So we have me. I'm sure Roxy's going to want to go. So me, you, Roxy, Katie.
Can I come? Yeah.
I had a nightmare, I think it was 2 nights ago, because Mark Riley told me about the ghost at Mom's house in Newport.
Oh, you never told that story.
Wait,
tell
what?
The, tell the story first, and then tell me about your
Okay,
bad
okay,
day.
okay.
Tell the story. Here.
Yeah, so my grandmother passed last year, and the beach house down that we would all grow up in is still there. And so we go and stay every once in a while. And so we came in late Friday night at about midnight. And we went to bed pretty much right away. I was dead asleep. And Julie shakes me waking, and I wake up to Leia barking her head off. And
Leia's
Julie-
his dog. man.
Yeah, Leia's my dog.
Not,
so
not his girlfriend.
not not
They're in
dating
an
two
open-
women.
a
I was like,
weirdly
your
open
grandma
relationship.
Leia was
Yeah.
barking?
Right.
So Leia, my dog, was barking, and Julie looks at me and said, I heard what sounded like pots and pans falling in the kitchen.
And crazy thing is Mom only has plastic bowls.
Oh, shit.
No, she
Where
has a
was
lot
this?
of.
Oh, she has plastic
Yeah,
pans.
she has.
What city was this
This
in?
is Newport Beach.
Okay.
So
it's a beach town.
It's a beach town. It's about 4:30 in the morning. I get my
The whole
light
place
on.
was black and white. It was weird.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. And then
You didn't
Robert
know-
Where'd you spill
Pattinson showed
your
up
beans?
cooking some beans.
Why'd you spill your beans?
So I went down there, I look around, and, I couldn't see anything. And I was like, we were like, yeah, it's late. Maybe it was outside. Maybe it was trash or whatever. So next day, we do our thing, beach day, have some friends over, barbecue. We go to bed at midnight. And now I'm staying in my grandmother's old room, which is a doorway that goes up with the door that leads into the house. And so we're up, staying there. Leia, our dog, is asleep at the foot of the bed.
Leia's
And we're
his
watching
dog.
TV. And I hear a click on the door. And Julie looks at me and goes, was that? And I go, I think, but no, I think, okay.
Was Leia like a raptor and she started,
Leia
she
was
learned
still
how to
asleep
open
at
doors?
this. No, Leia was still asleep at this point. And then we heard it again, this time more pronounced, and it was and like the door was moved, and Leia's up, barking down the hallway, down that stairwell. And I go, okay, I fucking heard that. And
Don't do the dirty in my bedroom.
And Julie's like up and like looking like, no, I definitely heard that. And I go, okay. And I get my phone again and I go down the stairs. She grabs Leia. Leia's still barking her head off. And I open the door slowly, look out, pitch black. And I get into the hallway, down the stairs. I turn on the light.
Have you not seen horror movies? Why would you do that?
Yes, I know. And I feel it. And I feel it in my bones and the hair on my neck. It was a little bit cold, but it was the feeling up my neck that the hair raised on my neck. And I went, okay, it's probably just Mom. And I walk downstairs, I get in the middle of the hall, and I go, Mom, are you here? A little quiet, it's in the house. I go, okay. And I get back in, close the door, walk back upstairs. Julie's like, anything? I'm like, nothing was there, but I think Mom just came for a visit.
That's awesome.
And then you didn't like this story at all.
No.
That's a great story.
Mark tells me this.
It was most likely
Mark's
a
like, we should go down to the
rat
beach. I'm like, I love the beach house. And then he tells me this story. I'm like, what are you fucking crazy?
Can we go?
Boy, tell me the dream.
Okay, so he tells me about the mom thing, and I had this dream that the where I currently live in my place, it was completely empty. Like all the furniture, everything was empty, and I was being pinned to the floor by a foot on my neck.
Ooh.
And Amanda said that for like 10 minutes I was going in bed.
That's not funny, but it is.
It's very funny. It's very funny.
Can you make that noise again? You sound like his old pug, Taz.
Your poor wife. Your poor wife.
I know.
Shit she's got to go through.
Oh my God. So you wouldn't go to the beach house? I would go.
Oh,
We could
I've been to the
perform
beach house many a
seance.
time, but
wouldn't
Mark was
sleep
like,
there
this time
anymore.
you should sleep over. I'm like, we're not sleeping.
No, not sleeping over.
I'll sleep in my car.
Okay.
It's just Mom saying hi.
But you like that trailer, The Lighthouse.
Oh yeah,
You
I
like
can't wait to see it. Well, because
Loved it.
did you guys see The Witch? I know Mark did.
Yeah,
What did you think?
I didn't like the ending, but I liked everything else.
Oh, that was the best part.
Whoa.
I thought the ending was a cop-out.
Oh, that was the best part, man. That's like the witch party.
Yeah.
So good.
I have seen Bad Boys 2, if you guys want to talk about
Nice.
it.
Did you see that? I did.
That was really nice.
Weird.
It was Mama.
Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's here right now.
So
What
we
else
can
we
just
got?
blame your mama
Nothing.
for everything.
Here's things that I don't like, right? Quiet, Lighthouse. Black and white, no thanks. Willem Dafoe, man.
What? How do
No.
you not like Willem Dafoe?
I
Why?
love Willem Dafoe.
not a
Every
scary
movie
movie.
he's in
Yeah, he's a
is
creep.
just like, I'm Willem Dafoe.
He does make a great creepy
But he's
face.
so
Yes.
cool.
Sure. Add like skinny, like machinist Robert Pattinson as like somebody digging a hole for a body.
He's going crazy, man. He looks so cool in this
He's so-
trailer.
I'm
He
telling
looks like
you, man,
is he
kid's a
like
great
the new
actor.
like Boris
no.
Karloff?
Kid's
Like
a
what is he
great actor.
doing? Yeah, it's
and,
awesome.
And then that's the worst. Like nothing says like the worst. Somebody tells me when they pitch a movie to me, he's like, it's a mental thrill. Nope, I'm out. As soon as they say like a mental journey, no.
You know what's so funny? If he never does Twilight and he just did Cedric Diggory, right?
Yes.
People would be okay with him as Batman.
Totally.
Yeah, it's the Twilight thing.
well,
really.
because Twilight,
Yeah, it's because it's
not cool.
Well, it's fucking lame.
Yeah, because vampires don't fucking sparkle.
Right.
Oh, they don't?
Those don't.
Vampires don't exist, dumbass. Sorry.
Why are you so scared of everything?
Wait a minute.
So you're
Wait
scared
a
of
minute.
ghosts, but
Hold on.
vampires are
I'm
fine?
not scared of vampires.
Wait. So you're not scared of vampires, but you're
No.
terrified of everything else.
Well, here's the thing with vampire. Unless it's like they're coming out and it's a jump scary movie, I'm not like per se scared of vampires because I know vampires don't
you ever
exist.
see
But what about
Days?
clowns and all these other?
Yeah,
dudes?
clowns exist, dummy.
What about ghosts?
Sorry, ghosts definitely exist.
So vampires don't exist, but ghosts do, and demons.
Yes. I don't know about demons.
I'm
Nah,
offended
probably
that you're
demons.
saying that vampires don't exist.
Yeah. Okay.
As a vampire, I expect you to respect my representation.
Kristian, vampires don't sparkle, you jackwagon.
We have less than 15 minutes left because
Sorry.
we're going to throw this interview in just a second. So is
Yeah.
there anything else we need to talk about?
Yeah, well, speaking of Batman, the cinematographer that was attached to do the Batman with Ben Affleck revealed that his movie was going to Ben Affleck's movie was
right.
going to take place in Arkham Asylum,
that's
and
cool.
that's
Ooh,
what he
like the
was
video
doing.
game.
I know.
Yep, he was writing it, but apparently he also said that and his name is Robert Richardson, said that script. Not a lot of people liked the script, so he was doing a lot of work on it before everything kind of blew up. So that was a what if.
The what if? I mean, what if?
I would have loved it in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, it could have been a fun, different adventure.
That's kind of what I mean. I would love a villains focused movie, like not just like one, right? But I mean,
Do
I
we
guess
think the Joker at the end of this Joker movie ends up in Arkham Asylum?
no. I don't think Joaquin's going to do anything other than this movie as a Joker.
I think comic book fans are not going to like this movie.
Agreed. But well, I'm a comic book fan now.
Like hardcore comic book like purists are not going to like this movie because of what Todd Phillips said. The fact that the Joker it's not taking any of the stuff. They're making their own version of it, basically. I think that I'm going into it as like an homage to the Scorsese feel. Yeah. So that's how I'm looking with a character that just happens to be the Joker.
It's just a different adaptation.
Yeah, you have to look at it that way. Almost like kind of Logan definitely fit more into the universe of the X-Men. I think more
because it took more from Old Man Logan.
Yeah, for sure. But I can understand where some people are, but I think that's why they got ahead of it and told people to expect that. But
and people are still going to be pissed. I mean, there's already people that they're like, "Oh, I read the screenplay and it's going to be." I'm like, "It's
Who was
okay."
That? There's somebody in here.
There's a bunch of people that have said that, but I just look. It's a screenplay, okay? That doesn't mean that that's the finished movie. Like, don't judge a movie before you haven't seen it. I don't understand that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyways.
I'm judging.
I'm excited.
Is that everything?
About both clown
movies?
movies.
We've got like 2 more trailers to get to.
No, we haven't watched shit.
Yeah, if you haven't watched them, the last story we can touch on is that
the 1917.
1917. Yeah, Sam Mendes' new World War I. That's a good one.
1917 trailer drops Sam Mendes' take on World War I. Where Riley said it before too. It's like Saving Private Ryan and World War I. Yeah. To me, that's a sign me up for so many different reasons. Sam Mendes, first of all, World War I. I don't think has really. I mean, there's a lot of World War I movies, but All Quiet on the Western Front. Like how many World War I? War Horse. But how many movies can you that really stand out in World War I? You know, that are like there's a lot of good movies, but like the big World War I movies.
And don't give me Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
But look, there's some, but it's
because it's more,
but more
fantasy,
like right. It's more fantasy, but actually based off of World War I and inside of it, and having Sam Mendes do it, and his cast is great.
Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong, Richard Madden, Colin Firth.
I like it. I like it a lot.
What's his last movie that he made? Sam.
Was it
Skyfall?
No, Spectre.
Spectre. It was the last Bond one.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
great.
will say this trailer
Monica Bellucci, though.
in huge block letters like 9 times they just mentioned Sam Mendes. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get these directing this.
You know, speaking of which, I still don't like in trailers, any trailer, when they give you the little teaser up top, like here comes the trailer. They ruined
that shot at the end.
So the first shot they show the guy running through in 1917, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool way to introduce it. And then it's like the end of the title. I'm like, why did you ruin that?
Yeah.
Totally.
That's stupid.
That's
but
weird.
This looks.
I literally clicked on it to watch this trailer. Why do I need a teaser?
Yeah.
None of you guys watch Peaky Blinders, but Peaky Blinders takes place. Do you watch it?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I love Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders takes place right after World War I, and like a lot of the after effects of these guys. They talk about the tunneling and everything, and if you read any Ernest Hemingway, Lost Generation and stuff like that, and World War II, obviously a little fresher in the brain, and like I don't want to call it like the sexier war, but it definitely had like crazier things happen. But when you think about World War I and what it did to a lost generation of people and the trench warfare and why they outlawed gas and all that kind of stuff, I mean, this war was absolutely disgusting. And it's what the thing is, and a lot of directors and a lot of producers will tell you, the hard part about doing World War I is that because the entire war took place in a trench, it's hard to shoot.
Yeah. It's I'm excited to see it though, to see what Sam Mendes brings to it. So that trailer drops. Check it out and let us know what you thought. Cody, is it possible? I know we only have 10 minutes, but is it possible to turn the phone lines on for 10 minutes? Or is
Sure.
Let's do that. We'll turn on the calls. 10 minutes we will have for you guys because we're going to throw to the interview with Julius Onah in just a second here, who is promoting Luce and written by J.C. Lee, and Julius actually co-wrote it with him. But it was a really cool interview that myself and Jeff Sneider had.
What's Luce about?
So it's based off a play, and the entire thing is it was a play written by J.C. Lee. I forget when it came out.
Okay,
and it was the. Trying to be the best way to explain it because Sneider pitched it. Just the whole
from the trailer, it seemed like it was this kid that performed very well at school.
Yes,
and then he has this teacher who is played by Octavia Spencer. That's kind of suspecting that he might have some deep deep-rooted violence in him. I'm not exactly sure. So it seems like there's this conflict between the mom and the teacher.
He's like the star
school.
pupil, and she's like searching like through his locker and like kind of find some stuff that's troubling, and so it's like, yeah, it's this. His study into this kid, and it's like it's very relevant to kind of what's going on today. So, all right, hey, we do have a phone call. Hey, you're on Collider Live. Who do we got?
Hey guys, it's Manny again from Hell Centro. How are you guys doing?
Hell Centro. What do you got for us today, Manny?
Oh, love your shirt, Kristian. Love your shirt, Dorina. Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, you don't like the United States? Go F yourself.
All right. So earlier you guys were talking about Last Action Hero, and in my opinion, it's extremely underrated. And,
Totally.
in my opinion, ahead of its time. That being said, if Hollywood wanted to revisit it, would you rather them do a sequel, a remake, or just leave it alone?
If they were gonna revisit it, then a sequel.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what happens with Jack Slater now. Especially, I think they could explore so much fun with movies that have happened since, and the type of tones, and it's superhero movies, and
Charles Dance on the up and up too.
There's a lot that we could do.
It's the Last Action Hero. They bring him back.
It's easy to bring. I think a sequel, and I think a sequel would be fun. I think you're right though. I think the movie was ahead of its time.
Totally.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Love that.
As was Jingle All the Way.
No. Thank you for the phone call. Tomorrow, think of one another movie for Arnold to do, so we can just because I want to see Conjugal.
Totally.
He's the best. We got another one, Cody.
Not right now, Darren.
All right, it's fine. That clip gets me every single time for sure. Because there's something about Cody to where he really is like that Vegas DJ.
Oh yeah, dude, you guys, I had so much fun with him and the Wangers on Monday.
They're the best.
Because Cody, your last Wanger show is next Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
for
now. Yeah. No, they're just so much fun. Like I laughed so much with them, and Cody tried to speak Spanish, and it was really cute. So you guys should check that
Cody,
out.
give me a little Cody.
Spooky.
What do you got, Cody?
What, Spanish?
Yeah.
Everyone tune into the episode to find out. All right.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right. Last phone call. Hey, you're on Collider Live. What do we got?
What's up? This is Roland in Atlanta.
Nice.
Hi, Roland. Good
like
voice.
Yeah, smooth.
Keep rolling.
Like that tone. What's up, man? What do you got for us?
I got two things.
Sure.
I wanted to know.
Are you like in a
cool?
Are you like in a? Are you under under stairs and you have to be quiet or something? You at work in a cubicle? What's going on? Or is this just how you are?
Josh, you hit the nail on the head, buddy.
All right, so what do you got for us, buddy?
Josh, so there's a hypnotherapist in Burbank. There's two of them. I want Josh to see the hypnotherapist, bring the person on the show, and cure him of his fear.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Would you be open to that?
And his hatred of vampires.
I don't trust hypnotherapy.
You don't trust it?
Yeah.
And
Have you ever done it?
I got to be honest with you, just because we're selfish for the show, I don't want him to be cured. That's one. So that's one. What's the other thing?
I appreciate you looking out for me, Roland. I really do.
Yeah, no, we don't care about that. We want him to be scared forever.
The other thing is, Kristian, I wanted to know if you were cool with Greg Giraldo. He's one of my favorite comedians. I wanted to know if you knew him personally.
I didn't. I met him once, but it was in passing. No, I never really had a chance to get to know him. But from everyone that I knew, he was your favorite comedian. Right?
Well, he was my favorite comedian, and a lot of people come up to me still. Like a guy on Friday last week said, "You look like Greg Giraldo." Do you ever like Greg Giraldo?
Yeah, Giraldo look. I like Greg Giraldo. Man, he was definitely another guy. Talk about ahead of his time. Yeah. But thank you for the call, man. Don't get caught. Don't get fired.
Yeah, please, Roland. Way to go.
All right, cool. So.
One more?
Maybe do one more. We can probably do one more and then throw. Because what's the interview, about 25 minutes?
About 25, yeah. We can bleed a little bit over.
We can do one more, Cody.
We can bleed a little bit.
Right now, Darren.
All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Did you? Okay, so last night Fight Club was on, right? Yeah. Which is again one of those movies that I don't even know how much I know I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it at my buddy Eric Buman's house for the first time, and I was like, that movie kind of changed my whole perspective on shit, right? And there are parts in Fight Club where I'm thinking to myself, every time you watch it back, how did he kind of like pull off half this shit, right?
Yeah.
And like, where is it? What is it? Is there a point in Fight Club where when he flips it, you're like, nah, I don't get, like, do you know what I mean? Like when it flipped, you thought to yourself, I didn't like it?
I remember when I saw that movie, by the way, because it didn't. I did see it in the theaters, and it didn't do well in the theaters. It bombed. I saw that with my ex-girlfriend, and we went, and it was at in Florida at Florida State, and I went to see it, and we were sitting there, and I was like, I thought more people would be here watching this movie, and then I remember.
At least because of the cast, yeah.
Right, but we both flipped over it after we saw it. We're like, how did no one watch this movie? We were raving about it because it was so crazy. But no, I think because it surprised me, and everybody does the Fight Club twist now.
Totally.
But no, I believe it.
I think my favorite part in that movie, and it's such like a little throwaway part, is when they're in the conference room. He still has been fired from his job, right? And the guy goes like, "Can I get the icons in cornflower blue?" And he's like, "Sure." And he's like. And he like smiles, and then the other guy's like, "I was showing my buddy over here that," and he just goes like, and he shows him all the blood in his mouth. Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite movie of his?
Venture?
Fight Club.
Is it?
Oh, that
might be 7.
7 is mine. I love 7.
I mean, 7's great.
But the line I always use, I've always used it, but I use it even more now because of Sarah Paulson. I say her name is Sarah Paulson. Cody, can we do one more? Thank you. All right. Hey, you're on Collider. Thank you. Hey, you're on Collider. Thank you. Hey, you're on Collider. Thank you. Hey, you're on Collider Live. Who do we got?
Hey, this is Aaron from Alabama.
What's up, man?
Hey.
What do you got for us today?
Yes. So I went to the movies to see Crawl this past weekend, and the movie is great.
Crawl?
Crawl. The crocodile movie.
Oh, yeah.
People love this movie. It didn't do very well, but people love it.
It's just doing better now.
Is it doing better now?
Yeah. It's made its budget back and more.
So what
in my opinion, I thought the movie was going to do like over 50 million to move there because my movie was packed. But when I went to go see it, it was 3 people who brought their babies to go see the film. And for anybody who knows, the movie's already filmed, and there are people getting their heads chewed off by alligators in almost every scene. For every
This is the
time
best
good
kids movie.
The babies are crying, and I'm sitting next to a couple.
Oh my God!
The whole time, and I'm trying to hold my patience because I get irritated so fast.
Yeah, man. I don't blame you though. I always hear Sebastian's voice in my head when it comes to it. It's like, get a babysitter. Why are you there?
Or see another movie.
It's gonna be on Blu-ray in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Quick question to the caller: would I be terrified of this movie?
Yes.
Thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it, man.
It's I want to see.
I want to see that movie also. I heard
So,
good things about it.
yeah.
Perry was raving about that.
And
I
Haley
thought
was
he
too,
said
yeah.
Qual, and I was like, is there a movie just like a biopic about DJ Qualls?
No,
It's
he
called Qual?
just has a phenomenal accent.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, look, we're going to throw now to this interview with director and writer Julius Onah, who myself and Jeff Sneider got to sit down with to talk about Luce. Enjoy it. We've had 2 guests back to back here, or I guess 3 when you can include the director and 2 directors and writers yesterday. But the story alone of how this particular writer and director got started, how he bounced back from the Cloverfield movie that he did on Netflix, because that movie got panned. But when you hear him, the things that he did, his spirit on movies, he's a really interesting dude. I enjoyed talking to him, and I hope you will like the interview. Before you come back tomorrow, remember to go on over to the schmodownlive.com, get your tickets for New York and Arizona and Orlando. Well, Barry wasn't ready for it. And make sure that you go and do that, the schmodownlive.com. And we'll see you tomorrow. But myself, you're not in tomorrow, right? Myself, Kate Mulligan, Dorina, Riley. I think Roka's going to join us, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Well, thanks for throwing to me. Look, joining us in studio here, a brand new film coming out August 2nd. Luce, and director Julius Onah is here. Now, Julius, you co-wrote this with J.C. Lee, who also wrote the play.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the film and it's coming out this Friday.
It is about an upper middle class white couple that adopt a kid from Eritrea who's a former child soldier. The couple is played by Tim Roth and Amy Watts, and the young man's played by Kelvin Harrison Jr. And they're worried this kid isn't going to be able to adapt to life in America, but he ends up becoming this rock star of a student and athlete, kind of like your dream all-American boy. But in the beginning of the story, he writes this incendiary paper basically advocating political violence. And a teacher of his, played by Octavia Spencer, becomes suspicious. She starts to look into it. And then from there, it starts a chain reaction of events that really turns the lives of him, his family, and people in their orbit upside down.
So then the play that did you come across the play? Did someone put the play in front of you? How did you come across doing this project?
I was almost going to do this movie that Imagine Entertainment, Brian Grazer. Actually, I did hop on the movie, but what happened was JC, who was writing it, I'd never heard of before, and I didn't want to hop on something where I wasn't familiar with the writer, so they said take a look at a writing sample of his, and it was the play Luce, and I was like, holy fucking shit, this is so good. I hopped on that movie kind of knowing, it was at the time Brian was at Universal, kind of knowing it was doubtful the studio was going to make the movie, but the play was just so good. I wanted to get to know JC better, and he and I stayed in touch over the course of 3 or 4 years, and I kind of bugged him about it, and at a certain point, circumstances came together, so we were able to do it.
I'm always curious about this when you have and it was his baby, like he had done this play before, and then so when you come on to co-write the film, how does the chemistry work? How do you get nervous? Like, is he gonna be open to changes? Are you gonna be how does that work?
It was a series of happy accidents because you bring up a really good point. Some people are very precious. I got lucky in that JC also has a very prolific television writing career. So he wrote on Girls, on Looking, How to Get Away with Murder.
So he knows the process.
Going through that process helped. And at the very beginning of it, I never approached him saying I wanted to co-write. I said, "You're going to write this. I'll develop it with you." But he was so busy with his writing career that literally 3 years went by, and I just reached the point where I was like, dude, I really want to make this movie. And if I don't take the bull by the horns, then it might not happen. So what I said to JC was, I'm going to write a first draft. And he just totally was like, yeah, whatever, dude, I don't care. He assumed it was never going to happen.
Right.
And then I had a 3-week hiatus, and I just went and I wrote it, and I called him up, and it's like, let's go to breakfast. Here's the first draft. And he was like, what? I thought you were lying. I didn't think you were actually going to do this. Yeah. But that kind of got him excited because he read it, and he was like, oh, this is cool. And then he went off and did his draft. I was like, wow, this is even better. And then we did a third draft together where we were trading back and forth. So I think kind of organically there was a trust. And I never kind of ran at him with, oh, I just want to take ownership of your thing. It was just, happened that we ended up co-writing. And now we're doing a few other things that we're co-writing together. So it's just one of those things when you kind of hit it off and you're not even expecting to.
I'm curious how the film expanded upon the play. Like what is in the film that wasn't in the play necessarily?
The film expanded upon the play yet again in a very organic way. The play only has 5 characters and is only in 2 locations, like a lot of plays, in the school and in the house. But what we did and what I did, and I wrote the first draft, so I wasn't as slavish to the structure of the play. I really wanted it to honor what the play did, but I needed it to feel like a movie. So I added more characters. The principal wasn't a character in the play. The sister wasn't a character in the play. Deshaun, who was mentioned in the play, who's the young man who smokes weed, he became a character, and the goal was to try and take a lot of the themes and dramatize them and humanize them, and kind of expand the movie, what I call horizontally and vertically. Horizontally in terms of making the themes feel a little bit larger, so they feel cinematic, and then that's vertically, and then horizontally just in terms of plot.
So that 5th character, was that Stephanie Kim or is that the sister Rosemary?
That was Stephanie Kim.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the sister is a new invention.
The sister was a new invention, and then a few of the other characters were people mentioned in passing that renamed and created new histories.
And what a cast that you have here with Naomi Watts, Octavia Spencer, Kelvin Harrison Jr., Tim Roth. Do you know right away, like, these are the people that you want to go after? Or is it, again, like you say, a happy accident to where it gets in front of them, like a certain list?
Everybody other than Kelvin, for the most part. Naomi, I've been obsessed with since seeing Mulholland Drive at the age of 19, and I was like, I have to work with this woman before I die. So in the writing of it, I was writing with her in mind. Awesome. And it was just like, a happy set of circumstances that she became available when we were making the movie. Octavia was at the top of the list in terms of who we wanted. She was the first person to come on board. She was the first person to read the script. And, that gave us a lot of confidence as we were moving forward. I'm a big fan of Michael Haneke, and when we were trying to figure out who to put opposite Naomi, Tim's name came up, and it just felt really organic. You know, obviously they did the
Funny
Funny
Games,
Games
sure.
remake, and in my mind, this movie's kind of got its own Funny Games going
It's
on.
funny, I didn't even think of that while watching your movie, the two of them together. But I do see the comp because, I mean, your film is very unsettling.
Yeah. Well, Cachet was a huge influence for me. I liked the way that it explored a social and political reality, but it did it in a manner that wasn't didactic. It wasn't trying to hammer home a message, but instead it left a lot of open-ended questions that allow you to project what you think or you believe. And, you know, that was the first thing that came to mind when I read the play, and I wanted to sustain that energy and style with the movie.
I'm curious what you think about the film's marketing, because, you know, when I think of, you know, the Luce trailer and poster, I keep seeing that phrase, the most provocative film at the Sundance Film Festival. Like, is that what you're sort of trying to sell, that this is going to be a conversation starter and you're going to have a great conversation when you leave the theater?
Absolutely. I mean, look, there's a way movies that typically handle race and identity operate, and it tends to be the case that there's a theme or a message or something that you can distill it down to that the audience is supposed to take away. That's not what this movie is trying to do. What this movie is trying to do is, I think, respect the audience in a manner that says, look, these are complex, complicated issues that have hundreds of years of history that inform them. For us to presume that we have that easy moral or lesson that you can walk away with, I think is a bit disingenuous. What was more important to me and what excited me about the play was the opportunity to say, here's a bunch of complex characters, hopefully if we did our job, here's a bunch of complex themes, and we're not saying we approve of what everybody does in this movie, but we want to give you the opportunity to look at them, to project on them your sets of beliefs, and then to have a conversation afterwards and ask yourselves what you think or believe. And I just think in the moment that we're in right now that is so polarized and everybody's got a megaphone in their hand with social media, it's really important to create an object that people can have a dialogue around.
And when you have, again, performers such as Naomi Watts and Octavia Spencer, do you see, as a director and writer of the project, is there certain things that they're doing? Because anytime when you watch performers like that, do you write around them sometimes? Maybe like at night in a hotel, you're saying, "Oh, wait a minute, you know, she did something there that maybe the character could do this," like rewrites because it's something that they did in the performance. But because of a movie like this, I'm sure that there's a particular direction because of the play. But do moments like that happen in this film?
I wouldn't say we wrote around. What we tried to do was to always be honest to the characters, but then I, as a director, tried to listen to the actors. You know, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is one between Tim and Naomi that was originally set outside. They had a pool and like, oh, we got this house, there's a pool, and Larkin Seipel, our incredible DP, had lit the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So we're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go do this thing. And we're rehearsing with the actors and like, you know, they're not feeling it. You're just like, oh my God, this is going to be completely flat.
Yeah.
So Larkin continues lighting the pool. We go inside and we just start walking around the house and we start feeling it out and trying to figure out where can you do this scene that makes it feel organic and truthful to the actors. And we ended up at the kitchen table. And then they started improvising and they riffed a few lines that I was like, oh, this is going to be in the movie.
Right.
So it was ways like
that
where it evolved. And when you have actors on that level, even though they might not be articulating what's wrong, they're feeling it on an atomic level, and I think you got to respect that.
One element in this film that I thought was absolutely brilliant is the score. And that's Jeff Barrow from Portishead, right?
Jeff Barrow from Portishead.
Right. Can you talk about working with him and with Ben? And because it's a very unique kind of score, and it has like that breathy, right? That kind of thing. Oh, I love that. Can you talk about the musical elements?
Jeff, I'm
this
so
film?
glad you asked about that because that is one of my favorite components of the movie. Look, this is a movie that's set in suburban America. It's the most probably cliched environment you could end up in. So from the very beginning, I was like, we need to find things that create a counterpoint to that. And I felt music would be a huge opportunity. And there were a lot of great people I had in mind. And I was like, and one of my producers on it, Eric Rowe, was like, well, what about Jeff and Ben? I'm like, oh, they're never going to do it. Like, why would they want to do one of my movies? But we sent them the script, and they just flipped out for it. So I had an hour-long conversation with them. And they're like, yeah, we want to do this. I'm like, amazing. And I really only gave them 2 bits of guidance. I said organs, because I feel like that's a nice counterpoint to this suburbia. And I was listening to a lot of like electronic music and jungle music when I was writing. So I gave those two things to them, and then the other thing I said is, you know, with a lot of movies, the composers will watch the film and then score it. And to me, it just feels like it's a very kind of TV process where like they're slathering stuff on the images. And I said, no, I want to come off of what you guys, you're world-class musicians. I want to see what you do. So they actually wrote the main themes of the movie without seeing anything.
Shit. Wow.
I held the movie back from. I'm like, I'm just not going to give it to you until you give me the themes.
That's really trusting in the people that you, especially that's trusting.
And here's
the
crazy thing: they live in Bristol, England. So like, if this didn't work, I'd have been totally fine.
It fit beautifully, really.
So, but what that meant is then I was reacting to them, and they're amazing.
We'll go back to that though too, because you said, you know, from writing to anything, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm sending emails, I'm listening to music because that's your process. A lot of that too, just be able to listen to music.
Music is a huge part of it.
Yeah,
for me.
so that's because when you say that, because I don't think you're going to hear a lot of directors say that they let the composer just do their thing first without seeing the movie. But that the minute you said that, I was like, this guy's a music fan, like hands down, because that's just really knowing the artist that you're giving it to, and how much of their stuff did you listen to before, or how much being familiar with it obviously beforehand, did you go back and listen to some more stuff before you made that decision to say, no, go ahead?
Oh, no, I just knew from the way they talked about the script. It's like you can tell when you're talking to somebody when they get it. Like, if they get it, they get it, and if they don't, they don't. And look, they've done Ex Machina.
Yes.
They hadn't done Annihilation. Oh, no, they had done Annihilation by the time they started some of the writing. I think they were in the middle of some of the writing. But they'd done Ex Machina. They'd done a bunch of really great movies. I love fucking Portishead. So it's like, it wasn't that hard of a decision. You know what you're getting with people like that.
So I wanted to sort of talk about your background a little, so because I've been hearing about you for years. So I was friendly
hopefully
with
good things. Probably a few bad things.
No. I was friendly with Ben Rosenblatt and Mike Silver.
Oh, cool.
So I knew you were an assistant at Bad Robot. Yeah. And that's how you sort of got your start. No, you tell me the story.
I wasn't an assistant at Bad Robot, but I had a project at Bad Robot, which Ben was such a great supporter.
All right,
I really dig that dude. But I started off in theater. I studied theater at Wesleyan University in Connecticut, and then bounced around New York. I worked at Kim's Video Store. I moved furniture. I did everything you could possibly do, and then I ended up back in film school at NYU. Okay. And when I was at NYU, I also had interned for Spike Lee when I was an undergrad. So I reconnected with him at NYU. I'd written a very...
And what year at NYU were you?
I was grad school, but I started in 06, and I finished my 3 years.
I graduated in 06.
Okay. 06. Okay. So you literally were was it grad school or
undergrad?
Okay, so you were graduating.
I just
right
look
when
old,
Julius.
Okay, yes. So,
wise. You look wise, not old. What are you talking about?
So you're working for Spike, and you're at NYU Film School.
So I'm at NYU Film School, and I was having a really hard time in school, to be honest with you, because there's a certain thing that you're expected to do at film school, even at a place like NYU, especially as a filmmaker of color. It's like, okay, go make a movie about identity politics, and somebody's going to learn something about themselves, and it'll have some kind of issue. And I don't say that in a dismissive way. It just felt to me like, well, there's an obvious path to go, and I wanted to go a different direction.
Right. You just wanted to go out there and kind of do your own thing at this point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wrote this thing that was a small film noir, really is like, I want to get out of class, because I made it an independent study so I could get credits for it. And I shared it with Spike because he had this advisorship where he would read anything that you put in front of him, and most people put shorts. I put a feature. He dug it, turned it to my first feature. Right. And then that led to me getting representation and getting a few opportunities in LA, and one of them was a script called God Particle. It was a Bad Robot, and that's how I ended up there.
All right, that's what it is. So you weren't an assistant there.
Yeah.
So I mean, God Particle became the Cloverfield paradox, and just to anticipate some of the reviews here for Luce, I think that they're going to say Luce is terrific, and it redeems Julius Onah for the Cloverfield paradox or whatever. Do you feel like you need to be redeemed? Like, what do you think about that narrative that is probably going to be applied?
It's a narrative that's out of my control. Right. I mean, and certainly, obviously, elements of it are I need to continue to make more movies if I want to have a career. So I certainly am thankful and appreciative if people respond that way. But the funny thing is, this movie happened. This movie was in the can 6 months before.
Oh wow!
Cloverfield Paradox came out.
Wow. Okay.
Like I'd shot this movie. Yeah, I wrote this movie in January of 2017. Shot the movie in the fall of 2017. So and I think Cloverfield was February of 2018. So we hadn't finished editing or scoring, but it was shot. It was
You were out in front on the Kelvin Harrison party too.
Oh, totally.
He's blown up since.
Yeah. So it was never made as a reaction to that movie. It was made because I read this play in 2014 and really wanted to do it. But obviously Cloverfield landed the way it did. It's always a very complicated situation in films like that. I didn't know it was going to be a Cloverfield film. I developed God Particle for 4 years. And, when you're making something like that, you're not in the driver's seat in terms of power and decisions. So, I'll say this, I'm really glad Luce happened.
And because of that, so Luce and Cloverfield, obviously two very different films. But you had mentioned in the beginning of this interview that both you and J.C. Lee are working on other stuff together too. Do you want to continue? Because you also said that you'd like to do different projects as a director. Do you want to stay with the more kind of serious, kind of politically kind of driven material, or do you want to do it all? Would you want to do more science fiction kind of, or would you want to do some more fantasy stuff? Like what would you want to do in a perfect career here?
Tell stories.
Yeah.
I'm not driven by a specific genre. I'm not driven by every single story has to, be some deeply provocative political story. I'm just driven by what is actually worthy of people's time.
And the stuff you like.
And the stuff I like too. It's like it's so hard to get people to actually leave the house and watch a movie.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing because, and I'm sure, and this is a question that anytime we have directors, especially writers, in here, because of streaming services and because of there's, I believe, more of there's a lot of. I guess one side of it is it's harder for us to get movies in the theater now. Yep. But the other side of it is that there's so much more mediums to put material. What side do you lie on here as far as where the business stands today?
It's tricky. I was reading this article the other day about TikTok celebrities, and I was like, oh my God, is the movie business over? Like, do these people even know what we love and what we do? But first and foremost, I hope movie theaters never go away because that was the dream. That was what made me want to be a filmmaker, watching movies in a theater. And I was just having a conversation on the way here, like, the experience of sitting somewhere captively and having to concentrate on something is so radically different from when you're at home. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm on the laptop, I'm on the phone, I'm doing 900 different things. So you're not focused on it in the same way. So to ever make the argument that it's the same experience on a different screen, I think is nonsense. Now, at the same time, there are stories that are very hard to make that I don't think can always make their way into the theater. So I understand and I'm appreciative of what streaming does, but I don't think it can and ever match fully what a cinema provides.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just always think of Martin Scorsese, right? Because when I saw Silence, loved it. There was no one in the theater when I saw it. There was no one in the theater when I saw the movie, and I loved it. Loved being in the theater watching it. But then you hear Scorsese doing Irishman, and it's going to be on Netflix. So, and I always think about how, like, if I was director and writer, I'm going, look, more people are probably going to see my movie, but it'll probably be at home. And it's probably a conundrum.
But is it the same experience?
That's what I mean. It's probably a conundrum because it's not the same experience, but more people are going to see your film. So it's like it's one of those. And that's why. And I guess I'll also ask you where you stand with the argument of some people that don't think that the Netflix movie should be nominated or for films, or you don't believe that.
Jeff's got an opinion. I'm curious what Jeff's
I think that's crazy. Those are if you ask those people what they are doing, they are making movies.
Yes. Where do you stand on
that? I don't 100% agree with that because they are making movies, but a part of the cinema experience. And look, we can redefine what cinema is. That's absolutely fine. And if we want to, then we should go ahead and do that. But a part of the cinema experience is going into a theater and having that sound system and having that environment and having that shared experience. I look at it kind of like going to a fine dining restaurant, right? They could bring Jean-Georges to your house and serve it on your table and all that other stuff. Right. But are you going to get a Michelin star for that? No.
Right.
It's going to that experience in a restaurant with the people there and having the pageantry and the process and the ritual of it that makes it fine dining. And I feel the same way about going to a cinema. Now, I don't mean to be elitist about it. It's just a different experience. And it's not an apples to apples comparison.
Do you feel like if Luce, which I think will be in awards contention, if that film had debuted on Netflix, then what you're saying is you don't think it should be eligible for the top film awards? If it had debuted like on Netflix?
Well, I mean, look, look what happened with Roma, right? If we had that kind of dual release strategy that they had of giving it theaters and then. Absolutely.
Right.
But if it was solely a television movie,
I see what you mean.
I think it becomes a television movie.
Okay.
And I think
Okay,
it's
that's
fair. And I think it's fair. But we do have the opportunity to redefine that, right? I mean, I feel like that's a conversation we should be having, just making it clear what lanes we're in. Because we always had direct-to-DVD to video movies. We always had TV movies. I used to love watching TV movies. Was it a TV movie or miniseries? Remember that old Shining that they did with what's his face from Steven Weber, from Airplane?
Right.
Yeah. I was just talking about that the other day because the whole Stephen King craze that's going on right now. So I mean, we've always had this. I mean, everybody knows the story of how Spielberg's career started. But we're not defining it now, and that's what technology does. It disrupts. But I do think we need to figure out definitions that make sense.
I mean, I would highly suggest our listeners and viewers to see Luce in a theater because of that score, because of the cinematography.
Larkin Seiple,
right?
Fantastic.
He's an Emerson guy, right?
Yeah, he's an Emerson.
Okay, but. At the end of the day, 5 years from now, most people will have seen Luce on their, in their homes. I feel like streaming rather than in theaters, which I think is, interesting.
Yeah, well, I agree with Julius what it said as far as getting the experience at the same time, and because there's some movies that just can't get an ultra wide release for, and because it's also the market to what is theatrical, what people are craving to see in theaters.
It's a power thing too. The directors have a certain amount of clout and they can demand that day and day release.
It's what's interesting to me about some of the conversation is we talk a lot about access now, access for filmmakers of color, access for female filmmakers, access for people who haven't traditionally had representation, and at the apex of that has been cinematic movie making movies for the cinema. So there's something to me that is almost kind of disingenuous and slightly second class of. You should just be happy now for streaming, right? If that has always been the apex of what movie going is and movie making is, the conversation shouldn't be let's redefine it to make it the small screen. The conversation should be how do we create more access for people to get to the highest level of it? And that's the reason you have a Crazy Rich Asians. That's a reason you have a Black Panther. That's a reason you have a Get Out. If we are willing to redefine that, then all those are just going to be TV movies. And it's not to say that they can't impact the culture, but the primacy of what cinema does, not just here. I grew up all over the world. I was born in Nigeria, grew up on 4 different continents, and there's still something so magical. I was just in Sweden, actually, for a few weeks, and I saw Midsommar there. And being in Sweden or being in Hong Kong or being in Nigeria where I was born, movies are still magical, and they're huge for people. And it's still new for them in a way that, it's kind of commonplace for us. And I just get worried that now that we're in this moment where so many more people have access to this big magical medium, it's just being shifted away from not just a more receptive audience, but we're losing the opportunity to take advantage of all the technology that's at our disposal.
Well, you can see Luce in the theaters August 2nd, and we're so excited, and thank you so much for joining us, director and writer Julius Onah here today. Go see the movie. The movie's called Luce, and you can see it August 2nd.
It's an illusion!